So, last time in Renaissance, you guys had been planning this for a long time. And you're finally pulling the trigger. You guys have made the trip out to Barnaby's homeland, the Hinola Wood, in search of the creature that killed his father. After emerging from the Feywild, you all quickly found yourselves some shelter in an old, rundown shack. And thanks to the judicious use of a tiny hut spell, you were able to avoid what could have been a very ugly encounter with one of the marsh's native predators, a massive frog hemoth that wandered towards your campsite. Come morning, you guys decided, fuck it, we're going south. We're looking for the monster at the last place Barnaby saw it. And you began hiking towards the mountains to the southwest. About halfway through your day, you guys happened upon a fellow traveler in the woods, a hobgoblin that Barnaby recognized on sight, and not necessarily remember the name of, a woman named Marcelie Surret. She introduced herself as a local wise woman to the town and community of Kindred Marsh along the northern shore of the lake, beside which you guys were sort of hiking. And after some discussion, you guys came to an arrangement. She said that she might be able to offer some assistance in your hunt if you guys would be willing to make a dive into the lake for her and retrieve some bloodweed, an indigenous plant that grew on the lake bottom, which for her would have been a whole thing to go and harvest safely, but for you guys, she figured would not be too terribly difficult. So agreeing to the deal, you guys said, let's do this. We'll meet you back at Kinwater and
With Gumbo.
with Gumbo and exchange yours. You guys
Cannot emphasize it
stepped off
enough.
of your path for the lake with some preparations and spells. You guys were able to dive in without too much issue. Found yourselves a nice little grove of this bloodweed growing on the lake bed and got to harvesting. While harvesting, Aloran made friends with a local giant shark and was able to lure him from his hiding place in a cave not too far off from where you guys were harvesting and stick him on a school of fish. And as you guys finished your harvest and made to leave, you were ambushed by another of these giant, three-eyed, be-tentacled frog hemoth creatures. And what followed was a pretty constant fight of wrangling and swallowing and regurgitating or teleporting out of this giant creature. It was over in less than a minute, but I think at least half the party spent at least one turn in the creature's belly.
I shot a frog.
You did
in his belly.
A very big frog. And you emerged victorious and were able to emerge from the lake relatively no worse for wear. So,
Physically, anyway. Psychologically, it was a much different story.
Sure. So, we're picking up as you guys have wrapped up this fight. You have reached the surface and you are returning to shore, kind of wading up out of the water in the mud and the weeds and the small shards of ice still floating in the shadows. Any questions before we get started?
We do know where the village is from here, right?
That's a good question.
You were told that it is on the north shore of the lake. Barnaby would definitely know how to reach the village, and from where you're standing here on this shore, what is happening with this bad situation? From where you guys are standing on the shore right now, you can see kind of across the lake, sort of catty corner, You guys are sort of standing on the eastern side of it, and on the far northern side, in the distance, nestled in the trees on the horizon, there is what looks to be a small settlement with tiny smoke trails kind of wisping into the sky. So it is clear and evident where you guys are heading going forward.
Only other thing I wasn't sure about from last time, the woman Marcelite, she is the village elder that or she was going to connect us with a village elder.
She was going to connect you with,
Or like a scrying woman or something. I don't remember how she phrased it, but
it was the Hinola Hermit. She's a much more accomplished, wise woman who lives sort of on the outskirts of the Kenwater area. And Barnaby would be able to tell you he knows a little bit. His family did not associate with this person or with Marcelite for that matter, as his family largely did not trust them. But he does know that there are a decent number of folks throughout Kenwater that have interfaced with this woman and with the hermit. So they are a known but not well understood quantity in the region.
okay. Well, we got the route. I guess we head to Kenwater.
Okay. So no further objections.
Yep.
Nobody's got any other plans.
I remember I got the eyes off of the froglin frog behemoth we killed.
Yes. Yes, Barnaby made a point to harvest the eyes.
They're good eating.
If you're into that kind of thing,
just squishy.
Well, Lauren is not touching it.
it's like a natural kind of jam.
Not happening.
But you've
So-
never eaten fish eyes, Lauren.
I'm good. No.
No, you probably don't eat the brains out of shrimp either.
No.
Oh, but the head's the best part.
I'll take your word
Actually,
for it.
head butter is quite nice. I'm just gonna.
Ooh, you would say head is quite nice, Blueberry.
Well, I said head butter, although I'm not going to disagree on the second point, but that is not a conversation topic that I'm having with you.
But
Oh,
why not? Oh my god. What?
sassy.
It's uncouth.
It's what?
Uncouth.
Oh,
I
you
mean,
know I like
basically,
the definition of uncouth. Come on now.
Wait, sorry, could you repeat that?
I said I'm the definition of uncouth. Come on now. I'm like the best person to have
Suppose
those
you're not.
conversations with.
Maybe on a different day.
Fine. I'm gonna hold you to that though.
You know what? Part of me is there for it.
Hey, stop that.
Fair enough.
And Lauren's gonna get a whisper that says, "Oh, it's not just part of me. I mean, this part's all for it."
Dead. We'll talk about it one day.
Dave, I was promised.
Oh, we will. Don't you worry. We'll have a really uncomfortable session with everybody where we talk about head.
Just listen to Cat and Shai talk about head for 2 hours.
Oh no, it would last about 10 minutes, and then I would pass out from how red my face was.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do 2 hours.
That D&D experience.
All right. So, as two members of the party discuss the finer points of certain sex acts. The rest of you will.
Peaks and lights, I think you mean.
A solid 30 feet ahead, and begin circling the lake towards the small township of Kinwater Marsh. Okay. So, luckily for you, your afternoon hike goes without incident. And as you sort of make your way back up to dry ground, and just trying to keep to the sort of faint trails, the local wildlife have sort of trod through the trees and shrubs around here. Slowly, kind of work your way back around the lake, and by about sundown, you are coming up to sort of the outskirts of this township, and you're seeing through the trees now. It's dark enough that there are. Oop, that is terrifying, Cat. Jesus.
Fine.
There's a good chance you will surprise yourself when you get home.
Yeah, that's upsetting.
You see this?
Oof.
Oh yeah, that's upsetting. That looks like a genuine ass person. Holy shit. You're gonna forget about it. Walk in. Oh fuck. There's a murder.
It'll be
Who
great. I'll jump
Who
scare
are you and why are you wearing my clothes? Christ.
What's the worst that could happen?
Oh my god.
That's definitely gonna wake
That's
up in the
fine, I'll
night and
just stab it a
murder.
few times.
Oof. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
I'm rallying. I'm rallying. So you guys are coming out to the edge of this town. You're starting to see through the trees, the lights of these isolated little homesteads here and there, kind of through the growing mist. Pretty well spread apart. There's not like a real clear pattern to where people are sort of settled as you're kind of circling the lake. It's hewing pretty close to the shore. But up ahead, you can see there's a very significant cluster of these sort of lamp lights and windows as you draw closer to Kinwater Marsh itself. And as you draw closer, the smells begin to change from sort of this cold but still sort of fetid, marshy, musty smell to this very robust smell of cooked meats and seafood, spices, gunpowder, liquor. Much more familiar smells, especially considering how you guys have been eating for the past few months with Barnaby in tow. And closer still, you begin to hear voices, all speaking in a very, very thick foreign dialect. It's a little hard to parse. There's some common sort of smattered in there. Barnaby, you would recognize that there's also some Sylvan sprinkled in there as well. I think you probably had the clearest sort of read on what any given voice is saying as you draw closer to this town. And kind of stepping out of the mud and up onto sort of a wooden walkway along the waterfront. You guys start to kind of see these piers stretching out over the water, all these fishing boats tied up to their posts. Off to your right, you can see these various streets. There's 5 at most of these sort of streets, like maybe 2 or 3 dozen buildings in total that kind of like line each of them, and sort of milling about them, all dressed in the most sort of ragtag, heavily patched and soiled homemade clothes. This small community of hobgoblins is going about closing up shop for the night and getting ready to drink away their pain and toil from the day's work. You can see there seems to be three primary sort of taverns that people are congregating around. And Barnaby, you would be able to point them out. I think you probably know enough. There was the Wet Noodle, which is one of the biggest of the three, and easily the oldest. Uh, there was also the Forever Pot Hall, sort of on the far eastern side of town, and the Strong Arm Ale House, which is probably the first one that you guys see coming up from the east.
Has sorry to clarify, has Barnaby been here before?
He would know about it. I think he's been here maybe a handful of times, but I think his family tended to keep very much to themselves. But the village was sort of a peripheral presence in his youth.
And never really got to go there much. Just heard stories for the most part.
Well, I guess we should keep our eyes open for Marcelite.
Barnaby, you would know that she, being the village wise woman, self-styled, she was said to sort of keep to a tower somewhere in town.
Well, let's see if we can find a tower. Any of these things jumping out?
Sure. I'll say, give me an investigation check.
I will assist you.
All right. So with assistance, that is a 11.
11.
My first roll was a 4, and then the second one was a 9. I got a +2.
Okay. Well, I'll say, Barnaby, it's probably attributable to the amount of time that you've spent on the Emerald Coast at this point in your acclimatization. I think you're looking around with this sort of picture in your head of, all right, she's a wise woman. She's maybe some kind of wizard. Maybe she's got like a wizard's tower. You're looking, for this tall stone structure, ornate. Maybe it's got like a conical roof, the faint little chimney. And it doesn't really occur to you until you sort of hit the last street on the west side of town, kind of walking along the pier. When you catch sight of this really haphazard, ramshackle looking house that looks like it has been. I mean, everything here looks like it's been, pretty like hand custom built. But there's a level of ornamentation and like woodworking understanding that's in place in a lot of these buildings, and it's like, okay, this is, there's some craft here. This one looks as though it has been made entirely by amateur hands, like completely alone. It's about 4 stories tall, and it basically looks like 4 shacks stacked on top of each other that are starting to kind of tilt and skew off to the side, like a Jenga tower. That's had just a few too many bricks pulled out of it, starting to tip. But it's still standing. It's very like the Weasley's Burrow sort of a vibe coming off of this house. Easily the tallest structure in town, although at a distance it is largely obscured by the now barren branches of the trees that sort of surround and grow throughout the village. But that definitely looks like a good starting point.
Well, it certainly fits the motif of the area. I would check this one.
Yeah, let's take a look inside.
Sure. And stepping up to it, there is a small picket fence, very roughly hewn, made out of branches and wire that has been sort of set up around the perimeter of this makeshift tower. And there is a homemade mailbox, out of like a hollowed out um, portion of a tree trunk. It's just kind of jammed at the end of one post. And has the word Surette carved into the side of it and painted in a surprisingly vivid purple.
It has the word what? Sorry.
Surette, Marceline's last name.
Oh, okay.
So, finding yourselves at your destination, how would you like to proceed?
You're saying the fence is closed and we can't approach the door currently unless we trespass.
I mean, yeah, there's like it's like a waist high gate. It's not like tall. You can easily step over it or just unlatch it. It doesn't look like a super impressive perimeter necessarily. But the yard is like very overgrown. There's patches of tilled earth where this, mishmash sort of herb garden has been set up. Much of it has sort of gone brown and curled and withered with the cold. But there's clearly like some semblance of activity happening out here, even if the aesthetic is not necessarily being tended to.
I mean, yeah, I'll go in or go toward the door.
Yeah. So, stepping through the gate, up this path of gravel, essentially, and maybe 3 steps that just kind of creak underfoot onto the porch. You're standing before this tall white door, peeling paint, with a very large bronze knocker that is surprisingly detailed, considering sort of the remoteness of this place. It seems to depict this wide grinning face with a long pointed nose, and the actual knocker wing is like the nose ring sort of protruding out of the nostrils.
I'm just gonna knock on the door.
Sure. At which point, there is a very violent from the knocker as the face animates and sort of coughs this like spray of like metal shavings into your face. And you see the eyes blinking, and the knocker snorts and squints at you and says, "You're not from around here, you. Can I help you?"
Got my number. Yeah, we're here to make a delivery, and I'll hold up the bag of bloodweed.
Delivery? I wasn't informed of any delivery. Who are you? What brings you here?
We are the Lost Emeralds, and we ran into Marcelite in the woods earlier.
Did you know? You see him kind of pursing its lips. You can hear like this bronze, heavily patinaed knockers kind of like gritting as it's sort of the body or the face is sort of like shifting in position. And he says to you, "If you saw Marcelite, then you would know. What was she wearing when she left this morning?"
Well, Peter doesn't know, but Noel sure does.
Sure.
I will
yeah,
explain what I last saw her in.
Sure. Says, "Very well. Well, as the doorkeeper to Miss Surette's tower, I dare say you may well be who you say you are. However, the miss is not home. If you would like to come back at a later date, or perhaps later tonight, if she should arrive, I will be happy to let her know as soon as she returns that you are in town and looking to deliver grass."
Inside check.
Yeah, sure.
It's a pretty good roll. Tell me your secrets, door knocker. 24.
24.
It's because we don't know the secret handshake, which for door knockers is just punching them in the face.
The knocker is definitely an enchanted, animated object. There is a certain quality to this thing's personality, its presentation, a persnicketyness that strikes you as slightly fey in nature. But as far as whether it's concealing anything or not, it doesn't sound like it's lying.
Okay. Also, isn't it pretty late though? Like,
It's like nearing sunset.
okay. Do you have any estimation of when she might be back? Is in like an hour or like not till midnight?
Well, as the mist described, she was out collecting reagents for her work, and so she should ideally be back before dark, as she is usually wont to do.
Okay.
But I cannot speak as to her activities once she has left these premises.
Right. I just wasn't sure if she had like a usual time she comes back. Yeah, we'll just hang out for a little while. Maybe I'll look to the group in one of the bars, I guess.
I could call her so that we can see if there's an ETA.
That's a good idea. I'd say go for it.
Oh, cast sending.
Oh shit. Okay.
And just say, we have your bloodweed and we are at your residence, but you aren't home.
Oh, you found a bag of chips.
What time should we be expecting you back?
The answer that you receive is labored. You can hear Marcelly is breathing pretty heavily. And she says to you, I'm almost there. Just give me another half hour. God, I'm getting too old for this.
Good news, bad news. She is on her way back, but it's gonna be about half an hour because she's, not made for this.
Okay. Well, that's...
Anybody who rolls hide on insight can sense that he is holding himself back from saying something mean.
Okay. I'll give a nod to the door knocker, and we'll just go explore the town a little bit and come back in half hour, 45 minutes.
Very well. I shall let the miss know that you stopped by.
Hold on. Can I help you, buddy? Be very important.
What was that?
I'm talking to Terrence and
He's been walking
Oh, got it.
all over my desk, making a ruckus.
Hey, he was doing that to me a second ago.
Ruckus boy.
Well, I guess I am curious about these taverns.
Sure.
Go
Yeah.
chill out there
Ooh,
for 40 minutes.
There are taverns.
Taverns?
There's 3 of
So
them.
Lauren's happy word.
Which do you want to go to, Lauren? There's shit, I did not write them down.
Well, from where you're standing, you guys are on the west side of town, sort of at the far end of the street from the docks, so more inland than you were when you came in. From here, you can sort of see down the last street on the west side of town, and you can see that there is a tavern not too far from this home, and the sign hanging over it, sort of illuminated by lamplight kind of shining from the windows. It seems to depict a large cauldron, although the text is probably illegible at this distance in the fading light.
All right. Well, that one's the closest.
Fair enough. So heading that way, drawing close, you will find yourselves approaching the Forever Pot Hall. And there's a decent number of older hobgoblin men sitting in rocking chairs on the porch as you draw close, each of them kind of cradling a tankard in their lap and smoking pipes and just kind of quietly shooting the shit. And as you guys all approach, one of them kind of looks down his nose at you all and kind of, I don't believe I've had the pleasure of your introductions, folks. He struggles to stand up out of his chair.
And Lauren will be like, I'm a Lauren. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure. He's very pointedly avoiding looking at you.
Oh my god. Everybody hates Lauren.
She's so
Look, you're in this territory, all right.
Do I need to go get like a dress or something? No, it's too
Probably
hot.
wouldn't be a bad idea.
Oh, Barnaby, don't make me
You're
do
showing
this.
far too much ankle for them.
I think Burberry will like pull the like Burberry pattern part out of under the thing, so it's like a what's the word? Capelet? So it's like a little short cape this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then offers it to Lauren if she wants it.
A cape? I don't know if that's going to help this situation.
10-10.
No, so it's like a poncho.
Oh, a poncho?
Yeah, think of it like a short poncho.
Ugh, fine. Lauren very begrudgingly puts it on. Can't remember my clothes.
You do see one of the old kind of grizzled hobgoblins just kind of like nod approvingly from his chair. He hasn't said anything yet, but
Lauren's like rolling her eyes while putting this on. She's just like, oh my god.
As God intended.
This is the most clothing I've ever seen you ever wear.
I hate it.
Ever.
Get it off of me. She's like squirming underneath. Too much. It's so hot. How do you guys deal with this? She's like fanning herself.
I got a little fan in my armor.
Nice.
What you do, Barnaby?
This must be
The-
so stressful for you.
the fellow who stood up to greet you, he kind of takes his pipe out and says, right, decent of you, ma'am. You, boy, and he points at you, Barnaby. I recognize you, don't I?
There's a good possibility I'm one of the oldest clan.
Fuck, snaps his fingers. I knew it was you. Boy, you the one done vanished 5 years back, weren't you?
Yep, that was me.
Well, look at you, crawling out of the woods. Come in, come here, God, come here, boy. And he'll start kind of like ushering you towards the door.
I walk in with
Sure, yeah. Stepping inside, I don't think you've ever necessarily been into any of the taverns in town, given your family's disposition. The Forever Pot Hall is festooned in what looks like 100, maybe like 150 different flags. These sort of narrow banners, all depicting different colors, different symbols, stripes and crosses and chevrons and all manner of sort of banners are hanging from the walls and the rafters, support beams. They're fucking everywhere. And you can see, a pack of hobgoblin men and women, crammed into this house, all gathered around probably like a dozen wooden tables, sharing drinks and food. There is a large hearth, in the middle of the room, like smack dab, not up against the wall, but this is sort of like an open in all directions sort of fireplace. And there are sort of chairs sitting, facing the fire, kind of in its midst, in the center of the room. That many elders seem to have sort of claimed for themselves. And on every side of that fireplace, there is a large shield and hatchet, sort of almost like a coat of arms kind of situation, kind of hung up on the fireplace. And the shield is sort of this bright blue field with like all of these green stars, sort of like in a big circle around it. And across the center of it, there's like a white banner that reads in Sylvan, "Never forget," which you would be able to read, Barnaby. And I think as you sort of step in, there is sort of a collective way from everyone sort of gathered around the door, at their tables. But beyond that, they don't really pay much mind to you as you step in, Barnaby. As the rest of the party follows, however, there's definitely a hush that sort of falls over the crowd and kind of follows you as you make your way across the tavern floor towards the bar, following Barnaby as you go. And there's just, 2-3 dozen hobgoblin faces all staring silently in your direction as you cross the tavern. This older man, he'll sit you down at the bar, Barnaby, and he'll say, "Aldo, you're not going to believe who came in." And this very tall, narrow, very skinny sort of hobgoblin man kind of turns to face you, clearly the bartender, heavily stained apron, thick black hair pulled back into a short ponytail, and this really like fuzzy mustache and goatee situation. Like it's real patchy. He turns to face you, with a tankard in his hand, and the older Hobbs like, "Aldo, this is the oldest boy done vanished 5 years back. You remember him?" And Aldo kind of raises his eyebrows and goes, "Yep. How you been?"
Been all right.
"Thirsty?"
Couldn't help but see what you got up there. I bet that's a story that you either like to tell a lot or you don't like to tell a lot. But I bet there's a story behind it, one or another.
"I suppose your family never came by much, did they?" So he
No,
just
we
kind of
did not.
fills you a drink and sets it down. "On the house, boy. Welcome back."
Lauren's like, "Can I have it, Barnaby?"
Armory just slides it.
Yay!
Yeah, as you take the tankard, Aloran, you can definitely feel there's a lot of people fucking watching you.
Watching me? Why me?
Well, I mean,
Something sticking out like a sore thumb.
your top half's covered.
My legs are just out.
How
Got legs for
scandalous.
days. Right, I know.
She like opens her skirt more, shows more leg.
Oh, for
He's like,
heaven's sake.
I'm gonna take off this goddamn poncho.
You don't see it, but you hear from somewhere in the crowd this like, "Ah, just looking."
Shit.
Um,
Lauren is just gonna fucking chug that beer
Sure.
and like put it down and be like, "More, please."
Sure. Although keep them coming if you're going to keep draining them.
Yeah.
And yeah, the older hobgoblin kind of claps a shoulder or a hand on your shoulder, Barnaby. Is like, "Your family never told you our story, son. That's criminal. You know where our people came from? How far we were pushed from our homes? The islands, boy. Your
Really?
family never talked about the islands?
Nothing to that extent, no.
Oh,
Got told about it, that's about it.
damn shame. Suppose it's no surprise, though, given what your folk are said to be up to up there. I've heard they train soldiers. Is that true?
Yes, sir. I was going to be one of them, but due to a series of unfortunate events, I ended up getting away from here for about 5 years, apparently.
5 years. Oh no, we remember. There was a whole hullabaloo about you disappearing. They actually came to town looking for you, believe it or not. Shocking day, that. Shocking. Now, your family's all nice and cozy with the Empire. That much is clear today. Down here, though, he points to the tavern and all the flags. We still remember what they did. We remember the farms we lost, the homes they stole, pushed us out of the Romanian Sea and all the way to this backwoods marsh. But you don't hear us complain? No, 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 sir. Good God-fearing folk around here, we make the damn best of it, but we don't forget. I tell you that right now. Ain't that right, boys? And there's a "Hurrah" from the crowd around you that kind of listening in. You can tell that this is definitely a constant source of conversation. But all the same, Gilder Hobgoblin, he'll flag Aldo again. He'll get two more tankards poured for you, and he'll put one in front of you, take one in his hand. Says, it's a shame you don't remember where you came from, my son, but don't you worry. If you're home, we'll set you straight. Romethea, now and forever. And he'll raise his tankard for a toast. Do you follow suit?
I mean, I'll raise it, but I ain't going to drink it.
Sure.
Oh, wait. Lauren will be like, wait, Marby, I got you. She'll take out the mug that you got her, pour the beer in it, and then hand it to him.
Huh.
Now, look at that.
So, with a clank and
Yep.
a swig, this old man basically like swallows that full tankard in one gulp. Like he is a practiced hand at this drinking thing. Are you drinking your beer, Barnaby?
I'm drinking my fake beer, if that's what you mean.
I mean, it's still a beer, but you're definitely not feeling any buzz off of it.
I just got none of that sinful alcohol in there yet.
Sure. It's a lot sweeter, I think, than a man who doesn't drink would expect this to be. It's sort of like a honey wheat, sort of like golden ale. Very bready, very filling, and impressively smooth. You have seen Aloran blanch at some of the ales you guys have partaken in across the Emerald Coast. But this one goes down much smoother. And, I mean, Aloran, you obviously would know already. Yeah, it's very good. Locally
Yeah.
brewed.
No, she is guzzling it down. She's like, this shit's fucking great. She's gonna be like, I think she's gonna probably ask me, like, do you guys have like a small cask I can buy?
Sure, I'll show you, Cash.
And I'll just raise it. Compliments.
Thank you. If I go.
5 gold?
Yeah.
And how big's the cask?
It's probably like a 3-liter, like wooden.
Perfect. I'll buy it.
Sure, yeah. He'll fill you that up real quick and on top of the bar for you.
Oh, she's not. She wants it to go.
Yeah.
Like to take. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a sealed cask.
Got it. So she will put that in her bag.
I definitely think that there are some wide eyes as you sort of just take this very hefty little barrel and just whoosh, vanishes into your bag from the onlooking hobgoblins. And there's definitely some folk who kind of like, ooh, like kind of back off at the side of that.
What did I do?
Aldo does not seem to pay it much attention. And the older hobgoblin, who I think at this point probably would need to introduce himself. This is John.
Two Johns?
Two Johns, yeah.
Can't deal.
This is a Jean John. He kind of looks at you, Barnaby, and he's like, well, you certainly have brought some interesting folk with you.
Lauren sends him a very pointed look. Because she feels like she's being talked about.
What exactly did you get to, son?
Oh, I got spat out all the way, quite a ways far from here. I can tell you that much.
Spat out? How far did you walk?
Well, it felt like only about a few days worth of traveling, but I clearly didn't go that far.
Huh.
I went a lot farther.
How far?
What was the name of the island I got, or the coast I got spat out on again?
Noel will rifle through her bag and pull out a couple of the maps that we've collected. Probably around here-ish, I think.
That guy, boy. You crossed an ocean in a couple of days.
Yeah, you're telling me I still can't wrap my noodle around it.
Your noodle. Lauren.
Were you looking for Emerald Ghost?
That's the one.
Yep.
He seems genuinely perplexed by that. There's a couple people at the bar that immediately start leaning in, whispering to each other. That sounds like fairy shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, boy. You got taken over by fairies. You know what they say about them.
I know what I got taken over, and I can tell you it wasn't fairies.
I'm telling you, fella. Go too far, that march alone, they lead you astray, well far for you.
I'm sure you probably know about my paw getting killed.
Some of us remember old Jimmy. God rest his soul. God rest his soul. A bunch of guys taking off their hats very quickly and take a drink.
Well, all I've been able to figure out is, and actually now that I think about it, you might all have heard about this thing, was a camera that then killed my paw.
Camera. Ain't no
Three
cameras
heads.
in these parts, fella.
Oh, I can tell you, there was one.
Yeah. He ain't been around here, that's for sure. There's one fella. He kind of slouches over the bar.
You can bless yourself that he hasn't been.
Yeah,
He took out my paw and is the reason that I have a 5-year difference.
we got bigger problems than cameras, feller. There's dragons in these woods today. And then there's a couple people who are like, hey, calm it down.
Dragon.
Summit. Burning houses, eating kids. It's bad time.
What kind of
Hey, your
dragons?
folks. Well, it don't hunt but at night, so ain't nobody got a good look at it. But it flies, and it spits fire, and it eats people. I don't know what you call that, but that sounds like a dragon to me.
That does actually match the camera description a bit too.
I don't know what no camera is, son, but I know about dragons, and that sounds like a damn dragon to me.
I mean, I can tell you the same thing that done killed my paw turned him to a crisp, so there's a good
no,
possibility.
that's what he does. That's what he does. He burns the houses, flushes folks out into the woods, picks them off till he's full, disappears. Don't come back for a week or two until he's hungry again. Like a snake
When was
or a big gator.
when was the last time he attacked?
Maybe a week ago.
So
Maybe
it could
two.
be happening soon then.
Could. If he's hungry. Won't lie, it slowed down a bit since it cooled off. Think he might be sleepier than not, like all the gators out there. Although the frogs are still out and about. Ain't that right, Hebediah? And he looks down the bar and kind of raises a glass to one guy who's got like a sling with one arm kind of like set in it and a black eye. He's like, I don't want to talk about it. Just emptying his tankard. Yeah, frog hit his house this morning, poor bastard. Ate every chicken he had. I told you, feller, you gotta put a bigger fence up around your house. Them frogs jump.
Oh yeah, we took care of one of those real big frogs with the tentacles just a bit earlier.
Just like that. Ain't that right? Every one of your chickens. I said I don't want to talk about it.
That would have to be one hell of a fence.
His head just hits the counter. It's a couple of.
I feel like Lauren's gonna go over and pat his back and be like, "Are you okay?"
He ate everything.
Oh, I'm so sorry. How much was that worth?
It's all my chickens. It's my babies.
How much worth of chickens?
Well, there was Jenny, Tabitha.
And Lauren's out of the scene.
Just give me a gold number, DM.
My goodness, that's awful. All of them?
Every single one. He ate the whole house in one go. The whole coop. And then they just walked away.
Lauren wants to make a little donation to him, but I won't tell her how much. I don't know what to do.
I mean, he's definitely like several drinks in and is more just hung up on every single chicken in that coop, all 25 of them, and all their names.
Lauren is going to slip like 50 gold into this man's pocket.
All right, yeah, give me a sleight of hand check.
Okay. Yoink. Sleight of hand, okay. It's a 14.
Okay, 14. So as he's talking, you just kind of pull some coin out of your purse and just drop it into the coat pocket. A couple of clinks, but you're pretty sure he didn't notice. He does not like skip a beat as he's listing off all these names. Jamantha, Tamari.
She's just like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Here, let me get you another drink.
They're so nice, ma'am.
I'll tell you what I'll do. If you can give me a little bit, if you can give me anything you got on this thing, I'll see if we can't hunt her down. I'm pretty sure this might be the same thing we're going after.
That sounds similar.
It don't sound like no camera, but if you think you can kill it, be my guest. Be all our guests. Shit.
I mean, I just shot my way out of a frog hema, so I'm feeling pretty confident right now.
Is that what that is? He kind of like takes a finger off of your shoulder, like ugh. The viscera is still kind of clinging to your body.
I slap down one of the eyes, one of the three.
Oh,
Trying to figure out how to cook it right.
a lot of hungry faces kind of light up at the side of that. And I think a couple of them will maybe approach you. Again, they don't have a ton of information, but what you learn essentially, again, this thing hunts primarily at night. breathes fire, scatters people into the woods, picks them off one by one, and it flies, right? Shows up every few weeks or so, somewhere in the Kinwater Marsh. There's not really a pattern that anyone's been able to discern. But it does seem like it favors a certain size of settlement. Kinwater Marsh itself, the town, has not been hit. But it does seem like it is interested in hitting sort of the larger homesteads. Smaller ones have sort of escaped its notice for the most part. But the larger ones have definitely lost a barn or, one of the houses on the property, sometimes two. There is one family in the bar with everyone who was living on the property. There were 4 houses, and they're now all crammed into one house. There's probably like 20 of them living in one room, and it's just, it's horrible. And damn this thing, da da da. I'll say give me an intelligence check.
I'm going to use my inspiration on that.
Okay.
Yes. That was a 2. So with that, on a intelligence check, that brings it to a 9 plus 2 for 11 again.
Okay, 11.
Better than 2.
Well, you're all putting your heads together, and you're getting the names of the folks around town who've been hit, and you're kind of like parsing your memory because it's been a while. It doesn't sound like it's going for any one house in any particular pattern, but it does sound as though there are more properties on the east side of town that have been hit than the west side. Just kind of eyeballing it.
Okay. Well, that's more than I got right now. Or before, so I'd say that's a good as time as any.
That's something.
Yeah.
So we wait out for a few nights around the western area and see what happens.
I think it depends what Marceline has to say.
That's true.
Maybe she has something more tangible we can use.
Maybe we could also lure it with some chickens.
That's just gonna get frogs.
Everybody knows frogs love chicken.
Thank you for your wisdom.
You got it, brother.
I have an odd query.
Sure.
So whenever you cast sending,
Yeah.
does the person have a time limit for whenever they can respond?
A rough one. Yeah. I would say the spell says that they can answer immediately. So I would say that given that people have paused to think before answering on occasion, it's probably like a window of like a minute or two before the spell completely fades and they won't be able to respond.
And this one's just for my own curiosity. This has nothing to do with the current situation. I mean, triggered by the current situation, but different question.
Okay.
If I was to cast sending to one person, and then before they answered, I cast sending to someone else, Could the first person still respond to me after I already cast it for the second person?
I would say yes, because it's not something you have to concentrate on. You send the message with a response protocol. They do what they want to with it, and you're on to your own. The next thing.
Cool. Alright. I'm muting because I'm doing dishes, and I figured you guys don't want to hear, dishwashing. So if you need me, you could just
Say so.
basically just talk to me, but it might take me a second to respond because I have to dry my hands off to unmute.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. So, anyways, that is about as much as you sort of glean from your conversations with the other patrons in the tavern about the pattern of this dragon or camera, whatever it is, attacks.
Okay. Well, as has been said, we've got something. I guess we just hang out until we can talk with Marcelides.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Lauren's just putting down some alcohol.
Yeah. I mean, this interaction has probably taken about half an hour, honestly.
Oh.
So if you wanted to go back and check out the tower, you could very well do that.
Sure. Yeah. Once we kind of, politely say goodbye to people, we'll head out.
Sure. Yeah. I think while the folks in the what is it, the endless or the bottomless pot, people in the tavern were initially very, very kind of leery of these outsiders coming in, but I think given how sort of approachable and amenable and actually like, oh, they're here to solve problems, sweet, okay, yeah, like the mood very quickly shifts, and they're all very gracious, kind of like waving as you guys leave, say, y'all come back, all right, and kind of see you guys to the door. A lot friendlier, I think, Barnaby, than your family would have led you to expect this establishment to be. Heading back to Surette's tower, as you sort of open the gates and begin walking up the steps, you can see that there are now lights in the windows, and you can hear the door knocker kind of call out to you. Although it's very faint at a distance and very quickly kind of gets louder as you get closer. Kind of a weird aspect of its enchantment. But you can hear it calling out. It's like, the madam is home if you would like to come in now. She just arrived, not 10 minutes back.
Perfect.
And you will hear him, and the door will slowly kind of creak open. And you will hear him call into the house, Madam Surette, you have visitors. And you hear Marcelly's voice from deeper in the house kind of call back, see him in. And stepping into the foyer, if you so choose.
Mm-hmm.
Anything before you step inside? Any concerns?
Lauren's taking off her damn poncho. Thank you very, very.
How decent.
It was so stuffy.
I'll take it, actually, because I am super cold.
All right, here you go. Do you want me to warm you up and she'll do little huggy arms at you?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, Lauren will just hug Noelle.
Oh, you are cold, too.
Yeah, Lauren feels really cold.
Like hugging a cold fish.
She hasn't warmed up yet.
Stepping inside, the foyer of this tower is a pretty wide open floor plan. There's a sort of a dividing wall that runs through what looks to be the middle of the house, and a stairwell that kind of climbs up towards it and then like splits to kind of head up to the left and right up to the second level. But in this sort of foyer room, there is an impressive amount of junk just kind of crammed into the space. It's sort of like stepping into an old like a vintage like furniture shop, secondhand store, where they've just got it's just cabinets next to tables, next to end tables, next to chairs, like all sort of stuffed up against the walls, kind of creating pathways kind of through all of this junk. And on top of everything, on all of the shelves and on top of every surface, there are a ton of just odd knickknacks, alligator skulls, collections of candles, large taxidermied spiders, just all kinds of weird, spooky looking shit that is just sort of accrued over time in this place. There's like herbs hanging in bunches from the ceiling by strings alongside dead rabbits and pheasants. Mishmash of odds and ends. And in the dim light of this space, you will hear Marcella kind of call out to you, upstairs, dears, upstairs. Don't mind the clutter. I haven't had a chance to straighten up recently. And you will see sort of a light shining as like a door opens on the left stairwell, kind of leading up to the second floor.
Sure, up we go.
Yep.
I will be right.
Right back? Okay. Continuing up the stairs and stepping into this next level, you find yourselves in a cramped but much more livable space. This sort of small parlor that's been set up. There's a fireplace where a roaring fire has already been stoked. A couple of large sort of winged armchairs sitting in front of it with an end table between them. There's an armoire off to one side, a bird cage next to it, another long chest of drawers along the wall right next to your door. You kind of have to like push something from behind the door to kind of like get it all the way open and get inside. And you can see that Marcelia is sort of very hurriedly running to and from this room, grabbing what looks like kitchen table chairs and sort of assembling them in this living space, trying to make room for everyone to sit down. And she said, please make yourselves comfortable. I am told that you come bearing gifts.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully this is enough. I'll put the bag on the nearest table.
It's like, oh goodness. She will very quickly kind of open it, take a peek, and say, oh, this is more than enough. You have done excellently. Thank you. Thank you. Well, that is, whew, that's a lot. She'll very quickly kind of grab that, disappear back into the kitchen, come back out. One more chair she sets up for there's enough for everyone to sit down. She says, one more moment, I'll be back with tea. And she back into the kitchen, and a few minutes later emerges with a tray with a large tea kettle, lots of tiny little teacups, and a number of little jars of sugars and creams and that you can pour in. And she sets that down on the end table between the two armchairs, sits down in one of them, kind of re-angles it to look at everyone. She says, well, please, by all means, take a cup and make yourselves comfortable. I imagine the trip was relatively painless. So she kind of glances over Barnaby and the grime and kind of coating his armor. I hope.
I'm doing all right. Everybody else got a few chunks out of them, but
little rough.
we're all here.
I got eaten by a frog. Several of us did, actually.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I am sorry about that. That is not a fun time, but you were successful, and as I said, I do greatly appreciate what you've done. It's an impressive harvest. So, um, you're looking for this thing, this
Camera, yes.
camera, right? Well, as I said, I think I have an acquaintance who might be able to assist you in locating this creature.
Perfect.
Barnaby, you recall the old hermit up on Raincutter Hills, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, she is a staunch supporter of my work here in town. And I have learned a lot from her over the years. And I think that she would be more than able to help you find this thing if you are comfortable making the trip.
I don't mind a little extra excursion. It's already been 5 years since its passing. Another couple of days and going to be the end of the world.
It's not so far as all that. Half a day's walk. Um, but I would say we should probably approach in the evening. She's more like to be up and about. Um, so if you're all right with this, then I think tomorrow afternoon, then we can all meet up and make the trip over. I can make introductions, and you and Miss Esther can sort things out.
Sounds good to me.
Well, good, good. She will. If nobody has taken drinks yet, she will definitely make sure she's.
Oh yeah, I'll take a drink.
I'm definitely getting some tea. That beer didn't sit right with me.
It's definitely on the bitter side, and there's a lot of herbal notes in there.
I need that. Bitter's good for the stomach.
Sure. And she makes an immediate offering of the sugar, cream, and honey that she's got in little jars on the tray as well. She says, "Well, I suppose there's not much more to it than to do it." So, if is there anything else that I might be able to assist you with tonight, for you folks called an evening?
Have you heard about these attacks going on?
Attacks.
Someone at the tavern we went to while we were waiting for you was talking about dragon attacks.
I have my suspicions.
Yes, I've heard a bit. Nasty business, all that. Unfortunately, I'm not quite as up on my dragon lore as I might hope to be in my position, but I know folks are scared, and I've had a couple come by looking for assistance. I've offered healing as best I can, but hunting a dragon is another thing entirely, I think. And Miss Esther is not terribly keen to involve herself, at least not for nothing.
We're not.
Well, it's something she likes. Maybe we could get her something.
Well, I imagine if she needs anything, she'll let you know. Um, she is not shy about asking for favors.
Yeah, that
How
doesn't
far
sound
away
that
does this
bad.
lady live?
Pardon?
How far away does this lady live?
It's
Well, then
about
half a day.
half a day's walk from town. She's up in the Raincutter Hills between the lakes.
Okay. And she likes favors.
She's
I don't say that out loud.
on the older side. Not a lot of inhibitions left, I imagine.
Just so we are,
Uh-oh.
just so we're going into this with more information, what kind of information are we going to be probably gaining in this scenario? Do you know what kind of wisdom she could provide?
Well, as I said, I've learned a lot about my own particular craft from Miss Esther, though I'm obviously still an initiate to such arts. She is much more practiced, shall we say, I think, in all manner of magic. Uh, I couldn't honestly anticipate what it is she'll be able to do, but I am quite confident she'll be able to do something. She has yet to fail, as far as I have seen, at anything she sets her mind to.
Do you have any examples, stories of times where she has helped people?
Well, I mean, as I said, I learned magic from her. Um, I know the Moraine family. I'm not sure if you remember them, Barnaby, out west side of town. Um,
Vaguely.
they were having a spot of trouble with having a child of their own. Came to me asking if I could help, and I went to Esther, and she gave me a little potion. I gave it to them, and a year later, they got a beautiful baby girl. I mean, it's pretty powerful stuff, I think.
Johnny has some thoughts about this. After playing Baldur's Gate, I'm like, this sounds like a goddamn hag. Anyways,
Probably not too far off. I'm thinking the same thing.
yeah, I'm like,
There's other kinds of magic, ladies.
Uh-huh.
uh-huh.
Like what, a witch? That's not that much better.
It's the same thing.
Have any children gone missing?
Children.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
Just
mean,
curious.
I've heard folks have lost kids to dragon attacks.
Before that?
Well, before that, it's mostly frogs that got them.
Interesting. Please continue.
How do you like the tea?
At the grad, I drank a beer earlier and I got an upset stomach.
Oh, you poor thing. Not much of a drinker, are you?
Never have been.
Pour yourself another cup.
Do you know where we might stay tonight? Places here?
Well, kind of looks around. She's like, I would offer you space here, but I can't say as I have much to spare. You might try asking at one of the taverns. They may have a spare room, although there may be some folks from the outlying farms taking them up. You might also ask after a barn, maybe, if folks are willing. Could always hit the old Tolwar place. They always close down in the winter. I'm sure no one will mind if you bed down in there.
The Tolwar place? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Tolwar. Okay. That might work. Yeah, we'll take a look around.
Sure. Anything else I can do for all of you tonight?
No. No, thank you.
Fair enough. Well, I hope the tea keeps you warm at least. Good luck finding yourselves a place to stay in there. See you all, well, not quite bright and early. A few hours later than that. I'll see you all tomorrow.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you kindly for all your help.
For sure. And she'll stand up and wave a hand, and the door will open again, kind of clattering into the bird cage. And you can all sort of shuffle out down the stairs and back out the door, at which point the knocker will say as you depart, I hope your business went well in there. Good night and good morrow to the lot of you.
Thank you kindly. Do you have a name?
The knocker kind of blinks and the eyes go a little wide. You know, I don't know that I do. No one's ever asked.
Well, think about it.
Well, what would you want to be called?
Gods. I think it's very quiet and very thoughtful.
We leave.
Sure. So, what's the point?
You can go back to an inn.
We could go to a tavern. Yeah, I mean, it's probably safer to stay in the town than to stay in the hut, given that we have access to places with people.
Can I just say that whole lady, this Esther lady, sounds like a hag to me.
I also got that vibe. We will have to be careful.
We dealt with them before.
Make sure you prepare fairy fire.
Yes.
If our experience from last time is any indication.
But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because that was a little sussy for me.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Well, I guess we'll head to a tavern and see if there's rooms available anywhere. If there's not at the first one, we'll keep moving.
All right. You want to check back to the first tavern?
Yeah, just because it's closest.
Alas, upon your return and your warm welcome, acquiring about rooms, you will hear that, fortunately, we are currently pretty full up. Might ask around about sharing a room with folks, but I won't lie to you. It's getting a little packed in here.
We'll ask around.
Fair enough. So there is still the tavern in the middle of town, the Wet Noodle,
Mhm.
and then there is the tavern on the east side of town, the Strong Arm Ale House.
I would like to stay at the Wet Noodle, please.
Yeah, let's do wet noodle.
Yeah, so the Wet Noodle is a two-story establishment. Definitely much bigger than the Forever Pot, and strangely, despite being more crowded, it seems quieter. And you know, the mood when you step inside does feel much more reserved And the folks closest to the door definitely give you the same sort of eyeball and routine as you got initially at the Forever Pot. But it doesn't really seem to warm up much, and there's definitely like a weird tension in this very crowded tavern. And the barkeep, who is a much like burlier, broader, heavy-set fellow named Lefroy, he just kind of gruffly invites you to take a seat. And upon inquiring about rooms, he tells you, "Sorry, hold up."
So we're gonna stay in your tiny little hut, Noelle?
Given that we just learned that there have been attacks on the east side of town, and that's the only remaining inn, perhaps the Tolwar place should be our next stop. Depending on where that is. Where is that? I'll ask this guy who's sitting across from us.
Towar, Main Street, down by the pier.
Alright.
Thank you.
Yep. Goes back to serving drinks.
Does he spit at us?
No, he spits in the spittoon.
Oh, okay, I was like, damn, bro, that was hostile.
I got a wet mouth.
That
Anyway,
sounds kinky.
it's not.
Let's just get you moving along, Noel.
Lord.
Or no way. Lord. There we go.
No, Lord. Oh,
Our names aren't even similar.
nope.
And yet, I always get you two mixed up.
So, heading. Ooh.
It's because you're the bard, so you're supposed to be horny, Noelle, but it's the druid that's horny.
It's true, you do encapsulate the right vibe.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. So, heading back down Main Street, closer to the pier, eventually you come across a large one-story building, but it seems to be like it takes up like the entire end of the block, like facing the pier. And the sign over the door reads in sort of like this rusting metal lettering. Bieskar Tolwar Trading House. There are no lights on. The windows have curtains drawn across all of them, and jiggling the handle of the door, it appears to be locked.
If I step up to one of the windows, can I see inside at all?
Give me a perception check.
I can never remember my perception score offhand. I think it's a +8. +6. So that's a 20 total.
20. Okay. It is definitely dark inside. But kind of peeking through the gaps in the curtains and in the windows, so you just kind of go from one to the next. What you see inside looks to be... It looks like a general store, but the shelves and floor space where product would be is like completely barren. There's no sign of anybody moving inside. There's no activity. It seems like an abandoned building almost. But despite sort of the rusting on the lettering overhead on the sign, the building itself does look like it's in pretty good shape. Like relatively fresh coat of paint, pretty decent sort of woodworking on a lot of the facade. It's a nice looking building, but like too nice to be abandoned necessarily.
Okay.
And that does kind of mesh with what what's her name, Surratt said about them kind of abandoning it for the winters.
Right. I will peek through the gap, and I will use Misty Step to get inside.
Okay, easy enough. Just Seconds later, you are standing inside what is essentially a productless, employee-less general store.
I'll take out the. Yeah. Yeah, I'll take out the drift globe and just look around. I'll turn on just normal light.
Okay. Just giving the room a once over.
Yeah,
like,
just
what do
kind of
you
like
do?
I'll just be quiet and like stand in the middle of the room with the drift globe and just kind of listen to see if there's any snoring or anything getting disturbed.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
Damn, I'm rolling really good tonight. 25.
Whew. I'll say before you even get the drift globe into the air, like after you sort of appear in the room, you would definitely clue in to sort of the tiny little skittering noises of rats kind of like scattering from wherever they were to their various hiding places. But after that, it's not a sound coming out of this building.
Okay.
And walking sort of the show floor, no sign of any activity. There's like a very thin layer of dust that's kind of settled over most things, including the floor. And as far as you can see, yours are the only footprints in the dust right now.
Okay. Could I go up to the front door and try to... Is there like a padlock or is it openable? Like a latch or something?
Yeah, there's a latch. It's
Okay.
easy enough to undo, and
I will let the
Just
group in.
swing the door open and let everybody in.
We'll collect in the most open space on the floor we can get, and I'll set up the dome.
Okay. The show floor itself does not have a lot of open space necessarily, but kind of poking around some more.
I mean, could we just move
find the
shelves
doorway.
out of the way?
I mean, you could do that too. I was going to say the back room is much more open and less cluttered. There's like not that much shelving back there.
Okay.
So you can set up there, or you can move shelving in the front room. It's either way.
We'll just make as open of a space on the easiest to set up area we can and just get the dome going.
All right. Yeah, sure. So.
I'll
Setting
also
up-
relock the door.
Schmai. Don't want anybody breaking in. So you guys set up camp inside. It's a little warmer in here than it is outside, though not by much. But with the dome up, a cozy 69 degrees.
It's 68.9 degrees in the dome.
68.9 degrees. You guys are instantly much, much more comfortable and will not have much trouble falling asleep. Do you guys want to set a watch tonight?
Nah.
I'm not too concerned. We are in a locked building in a locked dome.
I'll still keep watch. I'm not paranoid about things that breathe fire. No.
It'll be fine.
Look, I didn't get persnickety with you with your 69 degree.
All right. Well, Burberry, if you're going to keep watch, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Oh, crap, I didn't think this through. Give me 2 seconds.
You could have the DM roll on your behalf if you wish.
I can do that.
It's alright. I got it.
Okay.
I should have let you get it. 12.
12.
Yeah, I rolled a 7.
Okay. With a 12.
But it's okay. If the building's on fire, I don't think that's going to take a 12 to realize.
Sure. I think your watch will pass without incident.
Cool. Alright. I'll stay up for as long as I can before I start getting exhaustion points.
Sure, yeah. I mean,
If you really want someone to watch, a Lauren will. You can wake up alone.
I mean, no, I can't. I can't interfere with a Lauren getting a little more beautiful every day.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait.
That's what sleep is for, isn't it?
I will send a message to Adlar though
Okay.
before I go to bed. I'll be like,
Are you gonna freak the poor man out?
I'm sorry, that
Do
was
what?
a robot.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, are you gonna freak the poor man out?
No, she's just gonna complain. She's like, we're in this stupid town
Right
and
on.
everyone wants me to put on clothes and I hate it. Ugh.
It's just common decency.
It is not common decency, Barnaby, and Adlar gets. This is how I dress.
I think Adlar's response is definitely like, "Oh, you poor thing. Oh, I cannot imagine how hard it is to be you right now.
It's terrible.
I am so sorry.
Thank you.
My deepest, most heartfelt condolences."
She'd reply back, but she can't because he's being hostile as fuck.
He'll probably use his second setting stone to just keep the bit up. Like, honestly, I mean, that is the most tragic thing I've ever heard. I am so sorry. You are suffering more than any person I've ever met in my life. And I know a guy who almost got turned into a hag. So, that's pretty bad.
Keep that up. I dare you.
That's all you say.
That's her response.
Okay. Back on Farrell's like, oh, I don't think she liked that joke. That was like, yeah, that's too far.
Dodo's even like,
I didn't appreciate that either.
Yeah, Dodo's like, yeah, that wasn't funny, dude. It's like, oh shit, sorry. So is anybody relieving Burberry, or is Burberry just staying up as late as they can?
I will relieve Burberry.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Burberry's afraid of dragon alone will protect Burberry.
No more.
I think it's a 10 plus 10, so an unnatural 20.
Unnatural 20. Okay.
Like it's like half worry, half fascination. I think.
Okay.
'Cause dragons, those are cool.
Yeah, it's an unnatural 20.
You guys are camped out in an empty store in a warm dome in a sleepy little marsh town. It's pretty quiet. Nothing happens over the course of your watch. Who's next?
Just as it should be.
Anybody?
I don't think so.
All right.
Although Noelle is going to wake up halfway through the night and increase the dome's temperature by 0.1 degree. And then
Perception check.
Oh, brother.
it's going to be a hell of a DC.
Let's see. What's my perception in a minute? 14. Best roll I've done tonight.
You sleep soundly, Barnaby,
No.
unaware of the befoulment that has befallen you.
The air is evil.
It is the most comfortable sleep you've ever had.
Yeah, I think we're
All right.
we're not taking any watches.
Sure. All right. So you guys tuck in, head to bed, and sleep soundly through the night.
And in the morning, everything is on fire.
The
Just
whole village burned down.
Burns down around you while you're in the dome.
yeah, the dome is just like floating midair.
It's like in Minecraft when your house burns down around you, like with the floor, and like you drop down a block and like there's still stuff floating next to you. It's like, oh, this is bad. But no, you guys wake up. The store is still intact. Nothing is on fire, and the sun is
Yay!
filtering through the windows. On
I
this
love being wrong. It's the best.
chilly winter morning.
All right.
So, um, we are at the halfway point for the session, I think. So this is a good place to take a break.
Sure
I
thing.
think we can be back in 10 minutes and pick it up.
So
Right.
I'm sorry to do this to y'all, especially because I like barely talked in the first half. I was listening through the whole time, but you know, but I think I'm probably gonna bow out here because the you know,
Yeah.
got that stuff
Like,
to do.
Sleep is
Yeah.
important.
It's not even sleep. It's me. The guy who's coming with me is arriving in 10 minutes.
Oh,
And I need to
shit.
help. I need to help him do an inventory of his shit.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
But y'all have a good rest of session, and
Cool.
I'll try and be around next week. I might forget again though, so just a heads up. Because
so
I
yeah,
will.
the 10th next week. Is that good for everybody else?
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
Talk to y'all later. Have a good night.
See you, Cat.
And I.
Bye.
All right. Switching the break.
Bye.
Switching
then
back
you can
on.
pick up.
I'm just getting some noms to try to stay more awake.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So, picking up, the party awakens safe and sound in an unburned back room of the Beskar Tolwar trading house.
You know, Burberry, I was really hoping to have a long conversation with you.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, Burberry has laryngitis.
Ah.
It must be this cold weather.
Well,
How are they
Well-
going to cast spells? That could cause problems. Wait,
Oh,
both
my
of them have laryngitis? I call bung.
My throat is very sore.
alright, well, we'll hold off on it for now.
Thank you.
Alright, so getting set up and dressed and all that, we'll head over to...
Lauren's dressed as much as she wants to be. She's not putting on any more damn clothes.
Fair.
Oh no, she's naked.
If Lauren was naked, Barnaby would just not even be alive right now. So no, she's
I'll
wearing
just go blindfolded if it comes to that.
I'm just imagining Barnaby doing the Sanji nosebleed.
Yeah, that was what came to mind.
You ain't getting that. Uh-uh.
Just flies away, propelled by a stream of fucking bloody nose. Anyways, it's morning, and you're safe and sound. What do you want to do?
We go to... What's her name? Marceline.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Wait, weren't we supposed to meet her in the afternoon?
I think she just said not first thing in the morning.
Is it first thing in the morning, DM?
You guys did just wake up.
I mean, we'll be slow about our morning routine.
Alright. Kind of putter around the store.
Yeah.
Alright.
Do I find anything interesting?
Yeah, is there any neat little knickknacks left behind? I'll join Lauren in her search.
Sure. Either both of you make an investigation check, or one of you with advantage.
I feel like we both have shit.
Let's both roll an investigation check and fail horribly, shall we?
Okay.
4.
Oh no.
Jesus.
Alright, investigation. You got it, Lauren. Oh, 17.
Ooh, okay. With a 17.
I got nothing.
Yeah. Lauren, I think you would be able to find a bottle of imported spirits
Oh, fuck yeah.
that rolled under a shelf. They are very dark. It's a dark bottle with dark liquid inside, and a label written in a language you cannot understand.
Yo, guys, I just found alcohol.
Can anyone in the party read it?
Does anybody in the party speak Goblin?
Goblin.
Didn't think so. Yeah. Don't know what the label says, but it does have.
Oh.
It's a black label with like gold lettering and this like embossed, like almost like a wax seal of like a hobgoblin mixed with like a lion like roaring on the front as like the sort of like the illustration on the bottle. It's very
Sounds
fierce.
awful.
It's very striking, and the alcohol looks pretty dark on the inside. So, who's to say?
Lauren's gonna hold off on it
For now. Okay.
for now.
Fair enough.
Keyword for now.
For now.
So, a goblin bottle of spirits.
Yes. And I think while you pull that out from under the shelf, you also pull out what looks like a kind of crumbled piece of paper or a letter.
Okay.
And furling it, it is also written in Goblin.
A letter.
Yes. It looks like a letter. It's got like a little heading at the top that looks like the addressee line. There's a body of text, and then no signature at the bottom because it looks like it was thrown up or rolled up and thrown away.
Barnaby, can
Yes,
you read this, pretty please?
I'd rather not.
Please.
She'll give you puppy eyes. Little sniffles.
Pretty please.
All right. What's it say, DM?
Do you speak Goblin?
Let's see. Nope. Common
Yep.
to Sylvan.
So the answer to your question is no. You cannot.
Wee.
Well,
I told you I couldn't read it.
you have a bottle of liquor written in Goblin and a letter written in Goblin.
I'm gonna go find somebody to help me.
Something what?
I'm gonna go find somebody to help me.
Okay.
Can you pretty please read this for me?
I'll say, give me another investigation check.
Another investigation. Uh-oh. Ooh, 19.
19. Okay.
Rolled even better.
Fuck it. We'll say you go back to the tavern where you guys kind of made friends last night. And there's only one old hobgoblin on the porch tonight, and this morning, and he is like asleep in his rocking chair with like a big heavy blanket over his shoulders and what looks like a very large heavy duty crossbow like across his lap, and he's just like passed out rocking.
Okay.
But like stepping inside, you will see the bartender, I believe his name is Aldo, is just sort of slowly sweeping and cleaning tables and just kind of getting the tavern cleaned up from last night.
Hey, Aldo.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Could you help me, please?
Sure.
Could you read this for me?
He takes it, kind of squints at it. Says, to the esteemed Mr. LeBlanc, business is not so good. Folks seem very on edge about this dragon situation. Sales are down. Cannot recommend any further imports this season. Hopefully the situation resolves itself by next fall, but if you ask my personal opinion, it might be better to just abandon this particular trading house. Can't say I'm eager to go back. Love, and he didn't sign it. Probably because he wrote love on it. I would not say that to my boss either.
Okay. Ooh, and what about this bottle? And she'll hand it to him.
He kind of like scrunches up his nose at it. Like, ugh.
Oh, is this not good stuff?
It's imported, Emperor's Reserve.
Emperor's Reserve. That sounds fancy.
Yeah,
And
Emperor's
expensive.
Reserve, barrel-aged whiskey.
Is this, she'll put in air quotations, supposed to be the good stuff?
If you're willing to buy from the con, sure.
The
I'll hand
con?
it back to you.
What's the con?
The fellow responsible for our lovely home here in the swamps. He just kind of gestures at the banners.
Didn't she say he like kicked you guys out or something?
Yep.
Oh, that's not good.
Yep.
So that's why you don't like this bottle.
Yep.
Got it. I'm sorry. I just found it, so I was just curious.
No offense taken, man.
Well, I will get this out of your sight then. She will tuck it away
Much appreciated.
in her little bag.
He probably notes that you keep it and stuff it in your bag, but he's like, whatever. Just keep swooping.
Lauren is not going to turn down free booze, okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That is so out of character for Lauren.
You're not wrong.
She'll just be like, I'll give this to someone I don't like. That's what she'll say to him. Nope, doesn't like it. Okay.
Do what?
He doesn't say anything to that.
To what?
I'll give this to somebody I don't like.
He'll snicker a little bit.
Okay.
Just a sensible chuckle.
Okay. Try not to piss people off.
No, that's fine.
Alright, that's it. That's all I want.
Okay.
Well, we've
Anything else?
killed enough time, I think.
It's afternoon, right?
Oh, I will actually.
Did she say
show...
afternoon?
Yeah, she said.
She did.
She said.
I thought you said not
Esther-
first thing in the morning.
She said Esther's up and about in the evening, so we'll want to leave in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
I will actually show that letter to. I'll tell Barnaby what that letter said.
Okay.
Because I think it has to do with his brother. So.
Don't tell me Bubba's been a bit of a problem here.
Maybe just a little bit.
Why's my blood have to keep causing all sorts of problems, huh?
I don't know, Barnaby. I don't know what's going on there.
Being a real pain in the
Come on, say it.
Say it.
Say it.
lower region. There we go. That's the words I was looking for.
We were so close.
Someday.
I'm gonna have some words for him once we're not in Homeland anymore.
Are you sure you want to pick a fight with your brother in the White Cartel? When they could possibly be hunting him down?
I mean, not necessarily pick a fight unless it comes to it. Look, blood is blood. He should be able to recognize that.
Okay. We'll see.
Still seems like decent folk, even though he has made some bad decisions.
I think that's yet to be determined, but maybe. Well, is there anything else to do in this town?
I mean, there's not a lot happening right now. You guys got to bed at a pretty early hour. You're waking up with the sun, basically, so it's still pretty early in the morning. I'd say as things start to sort of wake up and the sun climbs a little bit more, so that there's a little sunshine in the actual streets, shining through the trees. You see people starting to come out and kind of mill about the various establishments in town. There is what looks to be a small farmer's market sort of situation set up on the pier. You saw the stalls as you walked by yesterday, but there wasn't anybody there. Going in this morning, you see that people are sort of walking to and from their homes with crates. There's some people who seem to be riding in from outlying houses and farms, with, wagons of goods. They're, setting up shop to kind of get their winter wares out and distributed.
Lauren's gonna hop on that.
Yeah, honestly,
like
like
farmers markets.
Lauren does like farmers markets.
Oh wow! Imagine that.
Is she gonna try and get a big zucchini again for God knows what reason?
Big zucchini.
To disrupt Barnaby's sleep? Oh hell yes.
I will say most of the goods on display. There's not necessarily a lot of fresh produce at this time of year, but there is a lot of jarred goods. Pickled eggs, pickled tomatoes, pickled pickles. There's, various vegetable sauces and gravies have been, put together and bottled up. The freshest thing on display looks to be fish, which there are some fishermen that are getting their boats ready to head out onto the lake, but there are also some that are currently dragging their crate of catch from yesterday back out to market, setting up again to try and offload what they have left. It's not a huge to do, but there's a decent amount of food and other products on display. Some leather work, some rope, some tools.
Barnaby, do you want some fish for some gumbo?
I mean, yeah, I do want some fish, but I also want some pickled stuff. I'm just gonna get a bunch of this good stuff.
I will buy Burberry a bottle of pickles. A jar of pickles.
Sure.
I feel like Burberry would like.
Kirby, what do you think about that?
It's good.
Still sick. Did you say there's
Y'all got any honey or lemon or something? Could help out this poor fella's throat.
Yeah, we got some honey over here.
Oh, good. I'll brew him up a nice tea.
Thank you.
Burberry, drink this honey.
No, you're supposed to heat it up. That's not tea, that's just honey.
It's so sweet.
Did you say there's
no dip.
There's people with they're wearing winter wear or they're selling it? Because I'd love to buy some.
There's some people that are selling scarves, hats, gloves.
Yeah, I'll get some big glove or some very soft gloves, a scarf. Just get because Noel is cold. It's cold here. I don't have any sleeves, so
it's not like it's dry cold either. This is definitely humid cold. Yeah. It's not. It's pleasant. It's not.
I know a thing or two about that.
Yeah, sticky cold.
Do people just keep staring at Lauren like she's crazy?
Yes. You are getting a lot of eyeballs, and again, you hear the "I'm sorry, I was just looking" from somewhere behind you. Although you whip around, you're not sure where it came from.
So
I feel like I'm sorry.
Lauren, if nothing else, for the decency of your common man not having to get slapped every 10 seconds.
It boosts my self-esteem.
At the cost of many people's faces getting slapped.
Hey, it's just one guy and his shitty wife. Don't feel that bad. But yeah, Lauren, you're definitely getting some looks. It's just par for the course. Everyone who is not a hobgoblin, honestly, is getting looks. John is probably getting some eyeballs just for being this gigantic, bare-chested, beefcake motherfucker. Mostly from the ladies. Maybe a couple dudes. I don't know.
Is literally everyone here a hobgoblin?
Yes.
Okay.
So, non-hobgoblins in the area are definitely a sight to see.
Lauren's gonna nudge John and be like, "We're hot commodities, buddy."
So, but yeah, Noel, you can get hat and gloves, scarf. I think there is maybe one coat on sale if you want it, but it's probably just one size too big for you. So it's the cuffs are kind of hanging over your hands, and the hem is past your knees.
It's okay. I will look cute in it.
Okay. So oversized coat. We'll say altogether that's probably 4 gold.
Okay.
Oh.
Done and done. Nice and
I
warm.
can't believe it. It's so cold,
Cozy.
Noel. I've never been cold, Dan.
It's so cold here.
It's not that cold. Oh wait.
Damn, what's the temperature?
It's in the 40s.
Oh my god, yeah, I'm fucking freezing.
It's warming up as the sun's coming out, but when you woke up this morning and stepped out of the hut, it was definitely oh fuck, you could see your breath.
Yeah.
Definitely chilly. I'd say like at the heat of the day, it's in the 50s, and that's maybe for like a few hours. As the sun's at its highest and starting to set. Once you get
Yeah.
back in the shadows, you're back in the 40s.
Okay, well, I will not die of hypothermia. No.
Yeah, it helps that you've been hiking a lot. That definitely keeps your blood moving a lot warmer. So there is the market. There are fishermen setting out from the docks, and there's the taverns. But beyond that, there's not really like a ton here. It is not a big community. This is 5 streets and a few dozen houses scattered across them. Um, I will say that about mid-morning, once the town is sort of awake and in full swing, you will hear sort of a commotion coming from the far side of the street, Main Street, as you see, there's a huddle of people kind of making their way out of the woods and into the village itself. And there's definitely, a bit of a commotion over there, some conversation, somewhat raised, agitated voices as they all sort of like make their way towards the Wet Noodle Tavern.
I will go
And step
eavesdrop.
inside.
Yeah, I was literally about to ask him, what do you want to go?
Let's go
See what's going
perceive.
Yeah, sure. Give me a perception check.
22.
23.
Oh,
Oh, I mean 24.
This fucking guy. So you guys just kind of step up onto the porch and sit down in the chairs? Are you listening at the door? Do you go inside? Like, what's the
Go
approach?
inside and get breakfast.
Yeah. We'll just be patrons. Wink.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, so you guys go inside, and you can see there's probably like 7 or 8 hobgoblins, kind of huddled together, being kind of welcomed in by the proprietor, the big guy, Lefroy, and sort of set down in front of the fire, and he's kind of getting the fire going. And you guys are sort of just standing in the entryway when this much smaller than before. This very petite hobgoblin woman kind of walks up to you all and asks, "I'm sorry, just an incident last night sounds like. Can I get y'all anything? Y'all need a table, a seat? Hungry?"
Yeah. Well, what
Yes.
happened last night?
No. She just kind of grimaces. Sounds like trouble. And she'll lead you over to a table and set you guys down. Take orders if you want to order food, actually order food.
Yeah, I'll order.
Sure. Yeah. Flapjacks, eggs, sausage, bacon. I mean, she's listing off like just fucking old timey Southern comfort food sounding shit.
I'll take pancakes and bacon, please.
Pancakes and bacon.
I'll just do a little bit of everything. A platter, if you will.
Bacon, eggs, if you got it.
Sure. So taking orders down, you'll see her scurry off to the kitchen. And in the meantime, with your excellent perception rolls, you will hear Lefroy talking to this family as they're sort of just settling in. It's like, dragon. It's like, it hit my cousin's house last night. I'm not sure where they got to, but I heard it screaming after it fucking set the thing ablaze, took off into the woods. We hunkered down in the cellar. They ain't come back yet. So we'll get some folks together. Get them out there, take a look. Okay. Thank you. Now listen, I ain't got room here. If y'all buds can stomach it, strong arm, I know, got a couple rooms left. And you hear the woman be like, "Shh, you ain't staying with those fucking dear, please." Sorry.
Wait, is Strongarm the first tavern we went to?
The third one. You haven't been there yet.
Oh, okay.
Or wait, no. Yeah, the strong arm.
That's the one we went to, and everyone was really nice to us.
No, that was the Forever Pot.
Forever. No, yeah, you guys went to the Forever Pot that had
Oh, okay.
Aldo, and you've not been to the strong arm.
Got it.
So, definitely sounds like something happened last night.
More dragon attacks. Interesting.
After a while, it takes a decent bit for your food to come out, but eventually it does. Barnaby, it is, as you remember, the cooking of your homelands. Heavy, filling, gratifying, good eating.
Oh, that's been a bit.
A lot of lard and butter in that shit.
Mm-hmm. Now you get the energy for your day.
Yep. So, you guys get some food, find out a little bit about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
Is it afternoon yet?
It can be short. I'll say the only other thing you probably notice over the course of the day before you decide to go check on Miss Surratt, you will eventually see a couple of hobgoblins kind of hobble out of the woods into town. Clothes very blackened, it seems, from fire. But you'll see some people sort of like rush over to them, start showing them over to the wet noodle, and get them inside. And there is an aggrieved reunion as you hear it got Polly. God damn it! The thing picked her up and flew off. It's horrible. A lot of crying and relief and mourning happening at the same time.
Jeez.
Barnaby, we need to go kill this thing.
I mean, that's why we're here.
Are you in the chat, Charlie?
I was. Did I? Oh, it kicked me out for some
What the fuck?
reason?
Yeah, I'm like, wait, where are you? Did
Okay.
you hear them?
No. Okay. That was weird. Sorry.
You didn't miss much. I think we're basically just saying,
Yeah.
yeah, we gotta get this thing. Did we in any of our overhearing hear where roughly it attacked?
It sounds like it was one of the real far outlying farms out east. Barnaby would probably recognize the name. It's like the Lemur family, and he would know that they're almost as far east as his family is north of Kinwater. Like they're way out in the boonies. So they are very remote, and this would have taken place, hours from town.
Okay. Yeah, I think knowing that, we'll fast forward to the afternoon,
Okay.
and I will ask the door knocker if he came up with a name.
You come back to the door knocker, and it barely gets out a greeting to you. It's still just wide-eyed, staring out into space, out in your stare, just like, the mum's inside.
He's still
He's got nothing. He's got nothing for you.
he's still working on that.
I think we broke him.
Do you want me to just give you one?
Please.
How about Joe? You look like kind of a Joe.
Joe it is. Welcome.
Is he just back to normal now? He's totally fine.
Yeah, he's totally fine.
All right, do not ask open-ended questions. Got it. Okay. Yeah, let's head inside.
All right, yeah. And you'll see, heading upstairs, Marcelly is, putting on some traveling clothes, not too different from what she was wearing when you saw her yesterday out in the woods. Getting on some boots and a cloak and filling up a satchel with a decent chunk of that bloodweed harvest. Afternoon, everybody. I assume we're about ready to head out then.
Ready as we'll ever be.
Right, you are. Well, ain't no time like the present. Sun don't stay out long these days, so let's get going. And she will lead y'all back out to the street and begin making her way eastward around sort of the outside edge of town before hewing back towards the lake and marching almost more or less on the same path, sort of southeast along the coast that you followed back to town. And as you go, she'll make an effort to sort of step out into like a rocky outcropping on one point so that you can kind of see past the tree line, and she will point into the distance, almost like directly southeast from town. Like if you follow the curve of the lake for a little while, then you just keep walking in that same direction into the woods and up into the hills. And you can see, there is, a rise in the land, several hundred feet high, these sort of undulating hills that kind of run parallel to the lake's edge. And there is a particularly craggy little peak with sort of a rocky peak to it that she points to, and she says, "So, shadow of that rock there is where Miss Esther makes her home. So we just gotta get up that way, follow the trail, and should be there by nightfall."
It's quite a walk.
It is a bit of a ways, yes, but it has been well worth the trip every time.
So what is the bloodweed for now that we got it for you?
Well, it is a versatile reagent, and potions and tinctures, but I am not 100% certain what it is that Miss Esther uses it for. But, excuse me, I am still winded from yesterday. She does not necessarily tell me much about her own personal business. It's hers to know,
This lady is a fucking hag. Anyways, I don't say that out loud.
I see it on Lauren's face, though.
Fair enough.
I will turn into a riding horse and offer her a ride.
Chicken. Well, I see you're no slouch.
There goes Lauren getting ridden again.
Oh,
It's an old lady this time, okay? It's not Barnaby.
Hot.
Hot?
excuse me, what?
What the fuck?
Anyways, she says thank you and hops on. And you guys continue along the path that she leads you. As you go, it is quiet out here in the marsh. Not a lot of activity, not a lot of sound, not a lot of movement. You eventually leave the lake shore at her instruction, making your way through the woods, kind of up onto the slopes of these hills. and begin sort of following this slowly kind of switchbacking route. It kind of, climbs for a while, doubles back on itself for a short bit, and then begins to climb again, kind of getting around, rockier outcroppings and kind of sheer drops. And slowly but surely, as the hours pass by, you guys find yourselves climbing higher and higher onto the shoulders of these hills. And from this vantage point, kind of looking out through the trees, you have a really excellent view of the entirety of the Hinola Lake. You guys are pretty high up now, good maybe 1,000-ish feet from the floor of the marsh. And you can see almost to the horizon, the lake kind of stretches, for miles and miles and miles out to the west of your current position. You can still make out the, faint clearing and the little shapes of houses where Kenwood Marsh, the village, is kind of built on the lake shore. And here and there in the forest, kind of scattered around that village, in miles in every direction, there are these tiny little streams of smoke coming up from the forest and marsh. And I think at this distance and this height, you would eventually be able to note that there is one particularly thick black plume of smoke in the distance, more directly north of your position, kind of coming from the base of this sort of chain of hills. That sort of strikes you as coming from the general location of the Lamore family farm, Barnaby. You would be able to recognize that.
Hey, DM, I want to ask a question about when we were still in the tavern.
Yeah.
They said the family lost somebody. Was it a child? Would we have been able to figure that out upon listening?
I'll say, because you got like a 17 or something, right?
For perception? No, I had a 20.
Oh, it was 23. Yeah. Okay. I think you would have picked up that was the wife.
The wife, okay.
Yeah. That was the wife of the guy's brother.
Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to
1 point against the hag theory.
real quick.
Yeah. So,
Onward.
Onwards. Eventually, you guys will sort of crest the peaks of the mountain. You're starting to walk along the ridge of these hills, the very top. And at that point, you're able to sort of see in both directions. To your right, you can look and see Hinola Lake and the village and the various streams of smoke. To your left, looking out, there is another lake on the other side of these hills that almost mirrors it in its shape, but has a much sort of grayer, much less reflective, murky sort of surface to it, even at this distance, and the landscape around it, even the stuff that is still catching sunlight from the setting sun, does have a much darker, much hazier sort of hue to it. And as you're sort of walking in this saddle between peaks, Marcelly would kind of pipe up here and say, there's the old brine hole, and it's bald besides. Can't say it's a terribly hospitable place. Salty as all hell. Do not drink anything you find on that side of the hills.
Good to know.
I could just make us water, we're fine.
Yeah. You mean nay, right?
What?
I said,
Oh. No.
says the horse.
Me.
Yeah, he says the horse.
You kick her off, like, I want to talk.
No, I don't.
No, that's fine. But yeah, so you guys continue your trip, and as the sun begins to fully set on the distant horizon, off to the west, you guys would see that sort of craggy, rocky peak sort of looming up ahead of you in the distance, drawing closer, I should say. And at its base, you can see that there is a handful of little pinpricks of light that are beginning to grow. And the closer you get, the clearer it becomes that there is a house built in betwixt the trees on this peak at the very base of that rock. And drawing up to it, it is a much different sort of structure to Marcelli's tower back in Kinwood. This is much more akin to sort of a hobbit hole in its sort of shape, this wide sort of looming almost little structure, very flat, very kind of like low to the ground. There is a number of sort of gnarled, twisted trees kind of growing up out of the top of it. And the windows have sort of this irregular, oddly angled shape to them. One is significantly larger than the other on either side of the door, and the door itself has this very ill-shapen sort of angle to its top, that doesn't fit fully into the frame. And there is, this brilliant orange firelight kind of flickering out from behind it over the top of the door. Clearly, as it does not, seem to close entirely. But Marcelly, seeing it, definitely gets this smile on her face. Just, well, we've made it. Oh, well, after you, I suppose.
Why don't you want to go? I'm just kidding.
Well, I can head in first. She'll hop off the horse and start making her way towards the little hovel. And as she gets close to the door, there's a couple of little hidden torches protruding out of the grass that both kind of light up as she passes them. And she'll knock on the door. Madam Esther? Madam Esther, I brought some folks who wanted to make your acquaintance, say they could use your help. Are you home? I am. And then you see the door very slowly kind of creak in on itself, like kind of swing open, kind of bathing Marcelly in that orange light. And you see her kind of like sigh and turn back to you all and say, okay, well, come on in. She's welcome us in. Let's go.
Before we go in, I'm gonna whisper to Noelle and be like, yo, this is a fucking hag.
I think we're about to find out for sure.
Anyways, let's go.
Just in the interest of being thorough, can I just get a nice little insight check to see if this seems a little, I don't know, shady?
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, go ahead and give me an insight check.
Nat 20.
Oh,
Okay, I was gonna roll, but Noelle's got it.
Basically just trying to pick up on this is like a scheme they pull or something, I don't know.
okay, sure. With a nat 20, I will say as you have sort of climbed onto this hilltop, this small mountain, shall we say, and approached this very foreboding-looking little hovel. Marcelly has definitely seemed very unfazed by this whole edifice. This does not seem to faze her at all, hardly. Which, given all of your reservations about this, I think does kind of strike you as a little off.
But we could also just be psycho people.
You could be psyching yourselves out. That's true. I will say, though, that the vibe coming off of this house with a nat 20 on insight, it definitely puts the hairs on the back of your neck on ends. Like, you've got kind of chills despite the jacket and scarf and everything you bought looking at this place. And the way that, like, orange light is sort of flickering so intensely, from inside, like, when that light kind of caught her face and she turned back to you, like, half her face in this, like, infernal orange light, half of it in, like, almost total darkness, eyes wide, big smile, real unsettling shit.
Okay.
Not a good look.
I'll just say to Alorn, let's just be careful. This could easily turn on us.
Got it.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll start following.
Okay. So, I think stepping towards the door, stepping inside, you guys find yourselves stepping into a very wide stairwell that is just sort of bathed in this firelight. There is like a very intense, bright orange light that is sort of shining up from the bottom of this stairwell. And Marcelly has already made her way like halfway down the stairs by the time you guys step up. And she turns back to you like, all right, come on, y'all, quit lollygagging. And continues back down the stairs. Following her, you find yourselves descending down into this very irregularly shaped earthen room. Kind of curved walls of like compacted dirt and stone, roots sort of protruding in and out of the walls and ceiling, likely from the trees overhead. And the interior here is reminiscent of Marcelly's tower, although it's much less cluttered and much more impactful in its sort of presentation. Like immediately there is this almost completed like elk skeleton that is sort of like laid out on a rug not too far from the stairwell. There's a roaring fire, almost like a bonfire that seems to be just going to town, right? It's blazing hard, and the smoke seems to be getting taken up by some unseen chimney in the ceiling somewhere. This vent somewhere. There's all kinds of bottles and herbs and dead animals like hanging from racks on the ceiling, and old-looking books, just kind of scattered all over this place. But there's a number of chairs, and Marcelly has already made her way around the giant elk and kind of sat down in one of them next to the fire. She just kind of beckons to all of y'all and pats it. And says, Esther will be with us in a second.
How do you know that?
Oh, she just said.
How? I didn't hear.
Well, maybe not said. She thought. Magic. Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Understood.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Sorry, I just don't want to be intruding or nothing.
No. I let her know. Some folk wanted to talk to her, and I thought y'all could benefit from an introduction. So here we are. And as you're all sort of standing at the precipice, what is everyone doing here?
I guess I'm gonna sit down.
I'm gonna
I'll join.
meander a little bit around the room. I'm not gonna touch anything, but just kind of like look at all the knickknacks.
I'll join. I have Bark sit between my legs.
Okay. So Noelle, instead of going directly to a chair, starts to kind of like walk the periphery of the room and kind of just take in the shelving. There's jars filled with various sorts of small animal specimens. Like a preserved alligator embryo. An oversized skinless frog. There is one that has like an eyeball that's about the size of like a bowling ball. God knows what it came from. It's got this like long slit for a pupil and these like long muscular tendrils where the muscle used to hold it in place, kind of trailing behind it in the ichor it's suspended in.
Terrifying.
It's a lot of interesting things kind of floating around in this place. It's a little off-putting. Barnaby, as you and Bark sort of skirt the baubles and interests, around the room and just wait for the chairs, Bark kind of stops to give the elk sniff, and the elk in turn raises its head and kind of gives Bark a sniff in return, at which your homunculus kind of jumps a little bit and scurries over towards you. And you just kind of watch as this giant elk kind of recrosses its legs and lays its head, its skeletal skull down over its knees.
Oh, Lauren is very unhappy by the sight of that.
Sure.
You must have built a friend of yours too.
Oh, that's Amos. Don't worry. He don't bite much. And at that point, the bonfire, for all its intensity, starts to die very quickly. And within seconds, the roaring fire that had been kind of like billowing out from between these long logs has sort of retracted into just bare embers, kind of in the fireplace there. And as it does, another light begins to grow on the far side of the fireplace. This similar orange light that kind of flickers and grows and swells, but it is being cast from a source behind this long drawn curtain. And as that light brightens, you can see a shadow is being cast on the curtain of this large, vaguely sort of humanoid shape. It looks as though it shrinks a little bit as whatever is casting it draws closer and draws into focus. And you can see this person, you think, standing behind this curtain.
Lovely.
Unclear exactly how tall they are, but the shadow itself is probably about 10 feet tall.
Oh, it's a fucking hag.
Uh,
Lauren's so unhappy right now.
They look to be wearing a robe that is kind of obscuring the bulk of their body. But the figure sort of turns, and you can see there's like a significant hunch in the back as this very long neck kind of cranes down, hair sort of draping down off of it, like a horse's mane almost. And sort of revealing that there's a pair of curling horns protruding from what looks to be the head. And then you hear the voice. Marcelly, who is it? Who have you brought to see me? Go on, speak up. Who's out there?
The Lost Emeralds.
Lost Emeralds. Oh, that's the name. Okay, that tells me a lot. Who are you?
An adventuring party who are looking for aid in felling a chimera.
/ dragon.
I'm pretty sure it's Cameron.
Well, she might be more familiar with the term of dragon.
You here to help the village people?
Well, partially yes, but the main reason I came was to avenge my paw.
Vengeance.
This just happens to benefit them.
Well, the head kind of swings towards you, Barnaby. And it looks as though it draws fairly close to the curtain, which has sort of the odd effect of sort of narrowing the face as the neck, still far away from the body, kind of expands thanks to the shadow being cast. Makes the head look much, much smaller, much more humanly proportioned. It's still rather large. But this close to the curtain, you can see that there are a pair of sort of pinprick-sized orange lights kind of shining from the eyes, visible in the shadow behind or in front of the fire. You look like a local.
I was, yes. Technically, I still am, but I'm more just traveling now.
No interest in coming home, settling down, starting a family?
Probably eventually, but not till I've gotten a lot of stories up in this noggin here.
Well, I suppose killing a dragon or a camera or whatever the fuck you're looking for would be quite the story now, wouldn't it?
That it would.
Say it bothers me much, though. What exactly do you want me to do about this?
I mean, that's the best part. We can take care of this thing. We just need to know where it's at.
You just think I know where every little dragon and camera in this forest is hiding, do you?
Well, you might be able to give us a good head start.
We were told you can help.
If everyone knew everything, the world would be a boring place, if you ask me.
Interesting character you've brought to me today, Marcelly. And you'll see a hand reach out from behind the curtain and just kind of like give her a little pat on the head. And the hand is easily the size of any of your faces. Long, long fingers. Sharp nails. This like mottled orange skin. And it just kind of gives her two little pats on the head, to which she just kind of blushes a little bit. She says, "Oh, don't. They said they could help. They did us a good turn. Look, they brought all this budweed, right? You know how much trouble I had getting that." And she'll pull the satchel out and hand it to the hand, which kind of turns over to accept it. It pulls back into the curtain. And you'll see this figure kind of rifling through the bag and pulling one out. And without really any hesitation, it just kind of pops one of these large potato-sized roots into its mouth, and you hear a lot of crunching. It certainly is a lot. And you all did this.
Yes.
Mhm.
I got the frog hematized to prove it.
How long does this take you?
30 minutes?
Like half hour, probably 40 minutes.
Half-hour?
You see it scratch its chin. Well, maybe you can be useful after all. Tell you what, as it raises a finger. I may not know where this thing is, but I can certainly find it without too much trouble, I don't think. But for a favor, I would need the favor.
Makes sense.
What is the favor?
Right to business. I like that. And it'll reach out a hand towards you, Lauren.
Oh no.
The hand kind of stops short and kind of twists, and at the tip of its very long nails, you will see this spark of orange light. And it starts as a flame. And you hear this figure say, I've had a relative come back into town recently. She's been making a nuisance of herself. I have not had the time nor the pleasure of making my way over to say hello. Please fuck off. But given how capable the lot of you seem, I think maybe that you could do me this one favor.
You don't want us to kill her, do you?
No.
Oh,
I want you to bring her here. And there's a gout of flame from that small spark over her fingers, Lauren, and it's hot for a split second. It kind of blows your fins back. And when you kind of like wave the smoke clear, kind of clear your throat and see, the fire has faded from her hand, and now she is clutching this sort of circular metallic canteen or flask that is sort of etched with this intricate array of runes and sort of figurative drawings of like vines and leaves. If you could just pop her in here for me and bring her back.
what is this?
A little cage, shall we say. She will kind of take the neck of it between two of her long fingers, very delicately kind of dangling in front of you as if, to take it.
I guess the Lauren will grab it.
And as soon as you have hold of it, she will draw her hand back behind the curtain. And it's heavy in your hand, Lauren. There is a significant heft to this flask. You kind of turn it over in your hands, and you can definitely feel there is a significant amount of magic kind of crawling across the surface of this thing. And Esther kind of clacks her fingers together behind the curtain there, and kind of looks to each of you in turn. And she says,
I hardly think that this is a large ask. This is a simple favor for adventurers of your caliber. You could bring my cousin back to me so that I might have a few words with her. I'd be more than happy to help you find this camera you are looking for.
What is her name?
And what does she look like?
And you watch as the shadow behind the curtain begins to sort of tremble and contract into itself. And a few seconds later, what you see is this much more human shape, about 4 feet tall, kind of broadly built, carrying this kind of gnarled, crooked staff. And you hear Esther say,
She goes by Kotum these days. Apparently, she had a falling out with some acquaintances of hers out west. Thought she might come back, make a go of things in my backyard. Can't say I appreciate her trying to muscle in.
Where does she live?
A day's walk south of here, under the mountains.
Is it like a similar sort of house?
I'm not entirely sure. The boys are not the most descriptive.
at which point she will snap her fingers. And out of the darkness behind you, you will hear this kind of bestial growl as two very tall, long-legged, about the size of a horse, but like half as massive, like very, very skeletal, kind of like giant greyhounds, kind of step out and take a seat by the curtain. And as they kind of look at you, you'll probably recoil a little bit as instead of a traditional dog's face, you are looking at a very haggard, middle-aged man's face.
Oh.
But they both kind of regard you with the same sort of placid attention, a large dog would. And one of them kind of sets down, like, lays its head down. The other one continues to just kind of watch. Nestor says at that point,
If you'd like to take one of the boys with you, they could lead you there, I'm sure. But I warn you, they're not much for the sun. I advise traveling by dark if you'd like their help.
Okay. I don't say it like that.
he's like,
Noelle's gonna pipe up and say, we have tangoed with Kotem before, actually.
Have you now?
Unfortunately, last time we did, she got away. So it'd be lovely to know a little more about how this device you handed us works.
Well, what you have in your hands there is an object of restraints. You have but to uncork this thing, speak its command word, and aim it at your intended target. At which point, should they fail to resist the lure of the flask, they will be whisked away inside.
Lovely. Huh.
And you are
Well-
confident that Kotem will fail?
She might need some roughing up.
Nell's gonna take out her notebook and she's gonna start quickly sketching something. And she's going to, I guess, kind of just ball it up and toss it toward the curtain.
Okay.
Because she's the hag is like not revealing herself, right?
She is still basically a shadow puppet, yes.
Yeah.
So you throw this paper over towards the curtain.
Have you ever seen
One of these dogs immediately like jumps to like grab it out of the air, and very excitedly, like wagging its tail, pokes its head through the curtain, and you see the lady grab it and take it.
Have you ever seen this symbol? And Noah will have sketched the symbol for the breaker of gates that we have on an old scroll, or a scroll case that we got around the time we were fighting Kotum.
She kind of cocks her head and then looks at you, and you see the head extending towards the curtain until you two can also see the two pinpricks of light in the eyes. Maybe I have. That sounds like another favor, perhaps.
It doesn't affect us personally, but it seemed like a pretty big deal at the time to the people we were engaging with. If it's something that we could address, then we'd love to know more. If you're not interested in telling us, it doesn't affect us.
I'm open to an offer.
I'm not making an offer. We don't care. Do you
Well,
want to
neither
tell
do
us?
I.
Do you want our help or not?
She just reaches around the curtain and just kind of plinks to you with the paper ball.
If you don't care, I don't care. Why the fuck would I care?
Seemed like a big deal.
You want to kill this camera or not?
Hello.
Hello. Who was that addressed to?
Yes.
I mean, it just went super quiet.
Is it addressed to us or?
What? Do you want to kill the camera or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
That's why we're here.
Well, all right then.
I was confused. That was a really hard turn in the conversation.
If you don't care, I don't care.
I was offered to help with a thing that seemed like a big deal. Okay. I guess. Yeah. We'll try to take on this challenge, I guess.
Good.
And you definitely see this figure kind of straighten up and just kind of like clap its hands together.
Well, it is dark, so if you want Rancid or Rank's help, you're gonna want to get moving soon. But before you go,
She will turn away from the curtain, turn back, and then reach another hand out. And there's a tray of very misshapen looking tea cookies.
is anybody hungry?
I am good, though they do look delicious.
Roll deception.
Damn it.
I had a big steak earlier. It was good.
Sorry, I'm going to my deception. Deception's not great, y'all. 13.
She very quickly withdraws the tray, and as soon as it's back through the curtain, one of those little cookies like fucking flies out, kind of plinks you in the forehead.
Don't lie to me. You don't have to be so patronizing.
Ma'am, I know what you are.
I tried, all right. I put my heart and soul into these cookies.
Yeah, and I feel like my soul would go right along with it.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that's everything, what are you standing around for? Let's get going. Chop, chop. Take the boys.
How
Do you think?
long of a walk is this?
Do what?
How long of a walk is this?
It's a day to the south.
Okay, we've already walked for. Well, I guess we get like half a day's travel in. Cause yeah, we walked for like 4 hours today already.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, wait. Then they're still gonna be in the sunlight. Because we have to sleep.
That sounds like a personal problem. You want the dog? Get going. You want to figure it out on your own? I don't care how you do it.
I'd like to.
If the dog goes
sleep.
into, if the dog goes in the sunlight, will the dog die?
Die? No. Leave? Yes.
Got it. Well, we could just kind of book it and then take a nap when we get there, or when we're close to it.
I mean, any distance we travel over. Sorry, this is Peter. Any distance we travel over 4 hours is gonna make con saves.
Yes. If you move at a fast pace, you will cover more ground in a given amount of time.
That tracks.
But like ultimately, inevitably, we will have to sleep.
Yes.
So the dogs aren't gonna stay with us no matter what, unless we
They won't-
want to
they-
make 4 con saves and then fight a hag.
Or how about this? Do you mind if we hang out here for a day, and then when we're refreshed, we go in the evening, tomorrow evening with the dogs?
Do each of us need to make a con save, or just one of us?
All of us will.
It'd be forced march, so all of us would be making con saves every hour.
Oh. Is there? I don't suppose there's like a. No, I guess it's not a good place for a wagon or anything. Is there any kind of like? Is there any kind of transportation through here?
Me as a horse.
Well, no, like I meant like one where the rest or everybody but one person would be able to like rest and not need con save.
You guys are up on a mountain right now. I'm not sure what kind of transportation you're imagining, but
Well, that's why I'm just like I'm trying to, because I mean, if you live in an area long enough, you're gonna invent some type of transportation.
The hagmobile.
Can we ride you to the?
You think I'm just going to give you the keys to my hagmobile like that? Just because you asked? That's another deal.
See, that sounds more worthy of a favor.
Listen, I don't ask for much up here. I set up a little shop. I do a little business. I just try to make ends meet. All right? I didn't ask for all this judgment. For snickety demands.
Me? I'm not judging.
You are the only person who's demanded things.
Yes.
You talk shit about my cookies. That sounds like judging. That was hurtful.
Was just saying, I don't think my soul would still be in my body if it was happening. Because we know who Kodum is, and
We've had we've messed with hags before, okay?
Yeah, we know. If you weren't a hag, I would have eaten your cookie, okay?
That sounds like profiling.
she clacks her little fingers together.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry. You poor. I'm using Adlar's line.
So
For the love of
Poor thing.
Can we just go do our job before we say something we all regret saying?
I'm
Do
never
you
gonna
want
regret
to
anything I say.
take the dogs, Barnaby? Because that's what we're trying to figure out.
I mean,
Well,
for what it's worth, I got a dog.
but you don't know the scent. Well, he doesn't know the scent.
Actually, would the scent be on that scroll case? I forget what the context of us acquiring that was. Was it on Anticotum?
It was on Konak,
Comac, okay.
because you got it from looting Konak, I believe.
I mean, it's not nothing. They hung out together, but I think that's the closest we're gonna get to having a scent on hand.
And it's going to be several months old at this point. How good of a tracker is your homunculus?
Well, considering it doesn't actually have a nose, like it doesn't have a, it can smell, but it doesn't actually have like senses for it, like a keen smell.
Right. Because yeah, I mean, it's like we could take the dogs, but they're gonna bail on us before we ever get a chance to
Well,
use
that's
them.
what I was saying is that we could. I asked the hag if we could stay like close by, and then tomorrow evening take the dogs and go.
Right, we didn't address that yet. I will say, Lauren, go ahead and give me a persuasion check.
Ooh, okay. 23.
I think the hag is considering it. You see the shadow shift again, and then once more from the curtains, a hand bearing a tray of misshapen tea cookies protrudes.
Oh my god.
Take a cookie.
She'll take a cookie.
And you can sleep soundly.
Forever.
Tonight. I'm not doing with feelings. You get the night. I have business in the morning.
So, just to clarify with the DM, I do not have to eat the cookie. I just took it.
Eat the cookie.
She's gonna pull out her sending stone to Noelle and be like, Noelle, if I die, please revive me. Wait, you can't. Burberry, please revive me if I die.
Gotcha.
She'll pull out a thing to Adlar and be like, I'm about to eat a hag cookie. Wish me luck.
God, this drama queen.
She'll eat the cookie.
Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Ooh.
Lauren's body immediately immolates.
Ooh. Oh wait, that's a 9, not a 6. Oh my god. It is a 17.
17. Okay. To Esther's credit, it's not a bad cookie. It's an ugly cookie, but it is tasty.
Okay. Do I die?
You don't die. You feel groggy for sure. You can definitely feel that there is magic in the cookie.
Wasn't a cookie.
But with a 17, you succeed on your saving throw.
Okay.
And beyond the just very groggy, like I just took 3 melatonin feeling, you feel pretty fine.
Does the hag seem disappointed by that?
She kind of stops to watch you for a moment, and then seeing nothing happen, just kind of gives herself a little and does not really engage with it much more.
Okay. Lauren will do little arms at John and be like, I'm sleepy, carry me. Please. Okay, well.
Well, at any rate, Esther will tell you that you are welcome to spend the night in the vicinity of her house. She has business in the morning, she says.
I will not be home until tomorrow evening, so don't expect any breakfast or lunch.
Oh, this isn't a bed and
No
breakfast.
hosting. No, it is not. All right.
What about if I want to make cookies?
Can we
I have
take
things to do.
Can we take the Hagmobile to get food?
No. I don't just give the keys to my Hagmobile to anyone who just asks. Just walks up and asks. That would be absurd. Half my livelihood is in that Hagmobile. But when I return tomorrow evening, I will give you the leash to Rancid or Rank, and you may be on your way. And I hope that you will return with Kotum in tow in short order.
Okay.
Do we have an accord?
Think we got a deal.
Very good. Now, outside with you. Go. Shoot. Get out. And you will see the hand begin to just kind of usher you guys towards the door. And you can feel the chairs you're sitting in beginning to scooch at her movement towards the stairs and begin sort of like almost falling upwards. There's like this as the legs of the chairs are hitting the various steps. And eventually you guys are sort of pulled up to the doorway outside into the cold night air and just sort of unceremoniously tipped back and dumped into the dirt in front of the house. And the chairs immediately just kind of clatter back into the door, and the door just swings shut.
What happened to the lady that was with us?
Yeah, what
She
happened to
is
her?
still inside. And I will say, throughout that conversation, she was sitting with a very just kind of placid, serene expression on her face the entire time. Like, very little emoting or reaction to what was going on.
Okay.
Oh, that was unpleasant.
I knew it was a goddamn hag. Oh wait. I knew it was a hag.
Oh Lord, so sweepy.
Somebody carry me.
Let's
I'm
go find
sleepy.
it. Let's go find it.
Wannabe. Carry me. I'm tired.
Oh, he wasn't. She wasn't that bad, or it wasn't that bad. Whatever it was.
She looks like she's pretty tired.
I don't feel like I'm
Probably needs
exhausted.
someone big and strong to carry her.
I do.
John, you're on it.
Aww. Aw, jeez. Does Barnaby not like a woman?
Barnaby's not strong, is what he's saying.
Oh,
But,
we'll
yeah,
go look
you
for a
guys can-
clearing nearby.
Yeah, you guys probably find yourselves a clearing not too far away to set up a dome, set up a camp, and hunker down for a night's sleep.
I will say before we sleep, Noelle's going to cast Sending to the Gatekeeper.
Okay.
Just going to say, hi, sorry to bother. Small question. We're currently working with a hag named Esther. Knows Anticotum? Any details about this figure?
The reply comes fairly quickly and thoughtfully. The Esther I remember was once a courtesan in the very same court I attended. She left in disgrace many decades ago. I'm given to understand there was some drama with her family. Hearing its coding makes some sense.
Interesting. Okay. We probably should take watches tonight.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yes, please.
Okay. Who's taking first watch?
Burberry will go first.
I got it.
Oh, good job, Burberry. That was a 19 plus Burberry numbers.
He gets a 3? If I remember
I
correctly.
don't remember that. I'm pretty sure Burberry did take proficiency in perception. So, yes, it is a 3. So, 22. With a 22, Burberry, your night on the mountain, or at least your shift of watch, will pass without much incident. Although you can hear the wind whipping around the outside of the dome. And you can see the dim light of the fire from inside Esther's home kind of return to the glow it had before you stepped inside and sat down, as though the bonfire has reignited. And you don't see much more than that. So, on the next watch, who's rolling perception?
I can.
Okay.
14.
14.
Yeah.
What the hell, Lauren?
I'm sleepy.
You're very
Sure,
sweet.
she's got the melatonin tired.
Yeah. There's a creepy mountain, Lauren.
Oh my god.
You look into the shadows of the trees near the home, and like you could swear there's something looking back at you from the dark, but you rub your eyes and you can't see what you saw a second ago. It's not fun. This is not a fun watch. The wind is really kicking up. It is just fucking all over the place. Just up here. Very strong, very cold sounding. Enough even to chill you, despite your resistance to the cold. But your watch will also pass that incident.
Okay.
Who's next?
Guess it's my turn.
Go for it,
All right,
John.
John. Perception.
Drum roll.
Well, I can tell you it's not going to be great. Perception is 10.
10. Okay. With a 10, again, the wind up here is wild. Just whistling all the way around the dome. It's just nonstop kind of whoosh, whoosh. You know, it's grating on the ears. About halfway through your watch, though, you see the door to the hovel open. And you see those two giant greyhounds, man-faced dogs kind of trot up the stairs and out into the clearing between you and the hovel. One of them kind of wanders into the trees, and you lose sight of him. The other one has its head to the ground and is just kind of sniffing around, and eventually walks up to the dome. And you see this middle-aged man's face, kind of 5 o'clock shadow, kind of a long, thick, kind of sideburns, kind of blending into his fur. and these like piercing red, like gleaming eyes. Taking these big whiffs, these at the base of the dome. You see him walking kind of back and forth, kind of walking in circles, and then eventually it hikes its leg. Takes a nice long piss on the side of the dome.
I'm going to fart in his general direction.
You see the dog kind of jump, and then this man's face kind of wrinkles up in this grimace, and then he turns away, gives a couple kicks of dirt on the dome, and trots back into the house. And the rest of your watch passes without incident.
That other one that went in the forest never came back?
He comes back about 2 minutes later. Goes back inside, and the door closes. Last watch.
I'll take it.
Okay.
21.
Anyway. All right. At this stage of the night, the sky is just beginning to brighten, going from that deep black star-speckled void to the barest hints of blue as the sun slowly begins its rise in the far east. And towards the end of your watch, it's bright enough that you can sort of make out the details of the trees around you. Shadows have sort of faded away, but there's not necessarily bright light. The sun is not out yet, but you see the fire light in the windows and shining from the door of the hovel go out. And you see the door open, and you see this very long-necked, cloaked figure. Again, probably a good 8 or 9 feet tall at the shoulder where it hunches, sort of looming up out of the doorway, kind of stepping out onto the lawn, and leading by, a bridle, that skeletal elk that you saw kind of resting inside. It just kind of quietly pads along behind her. And as they get clear of the hovel, you see the figure wave a hand, the door wings shut, and seconds later, this sort of strange sort of glittering glazing effect kind of washes down over the face of the house and completely obscures the window and doors with this sort of solid facade of stone. And then you see this figure, this Esther, sort of stand up straighter, now probably 11 or 12 feet tall, kind of throw a leg over the back of the elk, hoist herself up, and leaning forward, her head almost protruding past the head of the elk, through the antlers. You see her kind of crank the reins, and the elk, with this haunting kind of cry, takes off at a blistering run into the woods and very quickly vanishes under the eaves of the trees.
Terrifying.
Yeah, good times. And beyond that, your watch proceeds without incident.
Okay.
And you complete a long rest successfully.
Good morning, everyone.
Good job, guys.
Arnon.
So we'll pick up there, I think.
Just out of curiosity, could I go investigate that illusory stone and see if it's an illusion or if it's some kind of transformative thing?
Give me an investigation check.
That's a surprisingly good roll for me. 17.
17. Okay. when you first lay a hand on it, it certainly feels like solid stone. But with a 17 and your own sort of knowledge of magic, your sense that this could be illusory, you kind of press and you feel your hand sort of sink inside the stone. It's definitely not completely substanceless. There is something to it, but when you pull your hand back out of the stone, it's got like this sticky, sort of yellow, like resinous material sort of caking your fingers.
Interesting.
But you could feel the door behind the facade when you did that.
Okay. I will leave it.
Okay. So, I think that is where we will call it for the night. Pick up next time. You guys have the day ahead of you outside of Esther's while you wait for night to fall. So, let's talk MVP. Any nominees?
I will nominate Lauren for sniping the hag. The guess, I mean.
I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate. A lot of hag. I'm like, this is so hag vibes, man.
I'll do that.
So 2 for Lauren.
Yeah, might as well.
All right.
Well,
Take your RP point,
I'll vote
Lauren.
for Bourbon
Thanks.
for joining our session.
Yeah.
For canceling their flight just to play D&D with us.
How kind.
So nice.
So Lauren will take her RP point, and then we'll give everyone their customary RP for the session,
Sweet.
and call it a night.
Yep. I guess I'll just throw out this scroll case I've been holding on to for 2 years. Thought it might be relevant, but I guess not.
I mean, she said she might know. What's it worth to you?
Nothing.
Nothing. We just wanted to help.
We were gonna help her out.
Yeah, we're like, hey, we can help you with this, but okay.
She was like, fuck off.
I thought you were asking, what does she know about it?
Well, yeah, because we can't do anything. We know nothing about it.
Right.
So it's like,
So I took that as, oh, you're asking for information, right? And as a hag, I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. They don't even know a thing.
Guess it was more like, yeah, I mean, it was like, we want information to see if this is something that we could help with, but I do see the alternative of, like, we just want to know what you know.
Right. I think as a hag,
Information.
Esther is definitely not going to give away freebies, especially if it sounds like something that you want. Which, when you initially said it, it sounded like a, hey, can you tell us about this? Versus like, hey, can we help you with this?
Yeah.
So that's where I was with it.
Yeah.
So forgive me if I misunderstood it.
That's all right.
Unforgivable.
You know, guys, this hag isn't very nice.
You would eat the cookies, so I don't even.
You made me eat a damn cookie.
Yeah, I
Good,
will.
sir.
Good. Take that. Harumph, says the hag.
Maybe eat the damn cookie.
Eat the
A
hag's
melatonin cookie.
What would have happened if I had eaten that cookie and I didn't save it?
I put so much weed in those cookies.
Oh man,
You'd have been
she
tripping
should
balls all
have
night.
led with that. Lauren would have loved it.
I know.
I know. She'd been like, oh shit, let me fill this on purpose.
It's blood weed.
50% blood, 50% weed.
Ugh.
Yummy.
Sounds high in protein at the very least.
Delicious.
Turn into a weed vampire.
A weed vampire.
She could. Don't tempt her.
That's a concept right there. I want to get really fucking high.
So they can only feast, or they can only drink blood of people that are already high.
It's a
It
narrow
just sounds
pool.
like getting high with extra steps.
So they have to get their victims high first and then drink their blood.
Dank vampire.
Hello, fellow kids. Who wants to smoke
wants
some
free
ganja?
weed?
Blah.
All right, I'll stop the stream here. Good game, everybody.
Oh, we're still streaming.